We'd like to thank all of our sponsors, and there are many, so I hope I can remember them all. I've got them on a slide, and they're in your program as well, but we just appreciate all our sponsors. We're able to do this at a very cheap cost because of our sponsors, and they include the Mormon Pioneer National Heritage Area. We really appreciate them. Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, Kane Energy, Hughes General Contractors, the Kanab Area Chamber of Commerce, Kane County Water Conservancy District, State Bank of Southern Utah, the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, Kanab City, the Southern Utah News, Kane County Office of Tourism, of course, Kane County, and the Utah Micro Loan Fund. We really appreciate our sponsors, and let's give them a round of applause. To start off, I'd like to welcome Kane County Commissioner Celeste Myers, who's here to represent the Kane County Commission. Commissioner Myers is a tireless advocate for us and someone who is not afraid to take on challenging problems, which is what commissioners do, is they deal with problems. I've worked with Celeste closely now for 3 years, and I'm always impressed with her ability to really buckle down and get into the details of the issues and the problems that we get to deal with on a daily basis. But Commissioner Myers brings a strong commitment to supporting local businesses, strengthening rural communities, and fostering thoughtful economic growth across Kane County. Her leadership emphasizes collaboration, responsible development, and ensuring Kane County remains a place where businesses and families can thrive. So we're grateful for her leadership and for her perspective, and like to welcome Celeste to the stage.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is amazing. I love it. I always never know what you're going to say about me, Kelly, and I appreciate those words are so kind. Did ChatGPT help? Well, like we talked about, I'm Celeste Myers. I'm one of the Kane County Commissioners. I am blessed to have the economic development assignment, and I'm a small business owner myself, so it makes me so happy to get to support the other businesses and really see others succeed. It's a big part of what makes being a commissioner rewarding, so thank you for that. Where are we, why are we doing this? This is Raising Kane's 15th year, as Kelly talked about. Amazing. So we started out at the middle school, and then for years it was at Stampin' Up. And then when the Kanab Center was built, we started having it right here at the Kanab Center. So really appreciate this facility and the resource. This is a county coordinated and sponsored event, but we couldn't do it without you all. So it's a partnership with a number of entities and folks, such as Kanab City, the Center for Education, Business, and the Arts, and the Kanab Area Chamber of Commerce has been increasingly a big part of putting this together. So thank you for that, as well as volunteers and lots of local partners. Can we please get a quick hand of yes. Thank you. So I just want you to know this. In addition to the goods and services that you provide that make our community possible, businesses and commercial enterprises contribute about 75% of community funding. So this is some of the county services that you all help with by having your businesses in Kane County. Senior services, that's an essential county service, and it wouldn't be possible without you. Search and rescue, support for EMS and first responders, wildland fire personnel, all the county events, behavioral and public health, health and human services, court services, it contributes to that, and volunteer coordination. So thank you very much. I hope you realize how valued you are. So the main part of this, the reason I wanted to talk with you today was basically to give you an update from last year, tell you what's gone as planned, and also the challenges and unexpected things that we've experienced, and let you know what we're looking forward to for the future. So this is what we thought was going to happen versus what actually happened. Here we go. This is some of what's going well and as planned. At the North Event Center, I'll show you in a second, the multipurpose recreation center that's right here, this is getting built. The East Zion Visitor Center or Discovery Center that's going mostly as planned. And then we still are on board with the Coral Pink Sand Dunes Road. So let's walk through that. The North Event Center, we've been doing a lot with the fairgrounds up in Valley to make it more of a usable event space. And one of the things is a large covered arena area for the livestock and the fair and other events as well. The Multipurpose Recreation Center, here's a couple pictures of it. This is putting up the foundation, and then the walls are up. Did you notice that huge building back there? It's going to be 3 gyms, and let me just give you a little update about the rec center, because people have had questions. The project is well underway. It's a once-in-a-generation project, meaning we put a lot of effort and investment into this. It's not going to happen a lot. It increases opportunities for tournaments and other revenue-generating events, so it's an economic development opportunity, and it's for all ages. That's why we put it next to the senior services campus and the senior center. It has space for pickleball, volleyball, basketball. There's a walking track around 2 of the gyms and more. Also, I want to talk to you about some of the funding considerations when we built this. We didn't want to tap in at all to the general taxpayer dollars, so we did not do that. We also didn't have any additional county debt. I just remembered that I have this. No additional county debt, so we just used funds that we already had, like some leftover COVID money, things like that. We self-performed a lot of the work along with Kanab City to prepare the site and save as much money. Almost $1 million was saved by us doing the work. And then we used purpose-allocated funds with restricted use. In other words, no general sales tax, no general property tax, just special money that we found here and there. And we've been partnering with Kanab City, the Recreation and Transportation District, and really trying to have a community effort to make it the best possible. East Zion Visitor Center, I gave you an update last year. This is what it looked like last year. The foundation was poured, and we've got Steve Nealman and Kevin McClaws here pointing out the work that they were doing and the plans for the Discovery Center. This was several months ago. The walls are up, the roof is up, there's no windows yet, but it's coming along, and wow, is it huge and beautiful and clean and nice and welcoming. Just impressive. Again, this is a few months ago. You can see some pictures of what it might look like, but it's in progress. This was last month or so. The windows are in. There's going to be these huge fireplaces and chimneys. This is what it looks like from the outside. Amazing. This is going to be a huge benefit to our area in that it will give us some leverage, we hope, with the parks and with the federal agencies, and also have there be a physical gateway. This is one of the few places that doesn't already have built-up infrastructure to a national park, so big opportunity for Kane County. Coral Pink Sand Dunes roads improvements that I discussed last year are on schedule for this year, so it doesn't have to look like this again in the future. So again, we got completely state and federal money to fix this road, and we're so grateful for the $12 million that happened in order to help us with this. It will do a number of things. One of them is to hopefully alleviate some of the when people come to Zion and need a way to get around due to, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Just wait. All right. This is again back to all of us, not just government, but all of you. What are our keys to success? It's the ability to pivot and adapt to emerging challenges and also opportunities. Last year I talked a lot about challenges or also opportunities. So whenever things go unexpectedly and we've got challenges right in front of us, roadblocks, how we can respond to that is going to make or break whether or not we continue to be successful as a community. So micro businesses are companies with fewer than 10 employees, and they are also the most nimble, the most able to just, on the fly, change direction if needed. Kane County has only 8,000 residents and 1,200 licensed businesses. So that is a really high ratio of businesses to people. When our government and business communities work together, we got this. I don't know what that link is. I think I accidentally did that. Okay, so what are the challenges that we've faced this past year and that we're facing? One challenge. I drove to Kane County in an RV and I want to visit Zion. Now what? So this is talking about the Zion total closure to large vehicles that's on schedule to be implemented in June of 2026, less than 6 months from now. The problem is that there's a near-term funding gap to operate transportation to get visitors from the east side of the park to the existing shuttle at the center of the park that goes north and south into Springdale. While a long-term plan is in place, thanks in large part to the East Zion efforts, in the meantime, solutions are needed for about the next 2 years until there can be a lodge built at East Zion. Please stand by for more information later in this presentation. And I'm so glad that you are all here. I was just talking to Darren before we started about some possible workarounds. We've been working a lot with the state, and no one's not in this fight. So we'll get this figured out with everyone's help. Another surprise. I got to check my time. Okay, 15 minutes to go. Another surprise. Last year I talked to you about a potential ATV, OHV destination training facility that might happen out at Big Water on some state lands, and we hired Roger Brooks to do a feasibility study. Roger Brooks, as you all know, is with Destination Development. He came here about 10 years ago and roasted us all for a week or so and told us what we needed to do differently. And almost everything that we listened to him on has been a huge improvement for our area. The trees in Kanab, the signage, the seating, the walkable area. Wow, interesting guy. So we hired him to do this study. We had big plans. We met with the state. We were going to do this ATV thing just pending his feasibility. He came back and said, no, it isn't going to work, folks. There's just not so supportable, but I'll tell you what is. And then those of you who know Roger Brooks, he gets really excited when he explains his proposals. So here's the proposal in a nutshell. We have the largest dinosaur statue in the world. It's 100 foot tall, and people can see it from miles away, and you can take the stairs inside of it like the Statue of Liberty and look out the dinosaur's mouth and get a picture of yourself with that. And then you can see Lake Powell from the dinosaur's mouth. So cool. And then also, most of you know there's a dinosaur visitor center in Big Water that was almost never open. And the county has been partnering with Big Water to have it partially open so that people can at least use the bathroom and check out the really cool exhibits of dinosaurs that were discovered right there by local scientists. We're keeping all that. The idea is for the county to take ownership of the Dinosaur Visitor Center, keep it there, and then add to it and have a whole walkable, retail, stay and play paleo center that's family friendly. It's going to be amazing if and when it happens. So here's Roger enthusiastically explaining and how there's going to be tons of vegetation and a water feature, and we'll see more to come on that one. All right, the porta potty pivot. This is another thing. I stood up here a year ago and told you all about how we are invested as Kane County in putting anywhere that we can control, that we can work with local agencies like the BLM in order to have people have a guarantee of being able to visit. We're going to develop those assets. So we want trash cans, signage, and some place for people to use the bathroom at places like Kanab Sand Caves, Belly of the Dragon, toadstools. So we committed to porta potties on all those places. It was costing us an unexpected $18,000 a month to have the porta potties changed out and drained and cleaned out and diapers removed and etc. So we said, we can't do this. It's too much. So instead, we went for a grant for a vaulted toilet, which is basically a glorified porta potty that looks nice and only has to be cleaned out about once or twice a year. And we were able to get $70,000 from the state to put in the first of these porta potties at the Kanab Sand Caves trailhead. Next, just real quick to let you know, another thing that surprised us was the announcement from the federal administration of changes to the non-resident fee to enter the parks. And Camille Johnson with Utah Office of Tourism is here, so she's going to touch on this later. I won't belabor it, but we thought it was going to be a really big deal, and then we heard it wasn't going to be that bad, and then we heard it might be another really huge, super huge deal, and then it got better. So we'll talk about what it looks like. But unexpected news like this, anytime we get unexpected news, it requires close coordination with local and state tourism and other entities. So we really appreciate the relationships and the partnerships. Can you all hear me okay? Everyone, yeah. Okay, another thing that we didn't see coming that cuts deep, the North Rim infrastructure basically completely decimated. The Dragon Bravo fire destroys the North Rim shortly after July 4th, and I don't think I need to tell you all, but the North Rim economy is huge for our area, even though it's just seasonal. In the past, we've seen up to 80% reduction in economic input when the North Rim closes. So that's the bad news. The North Rim burned. The good news, in a way, this has been an opportunity because the North Rim had been set up to be only seasonally open. But now there are plans with the rebuild for it to be open for year-round, full access and use, which will be fantastic once it's rebuilt. The little statue of Brighty is currently being restored right now, so that was something that gives us a little bit of hope and encouragement. And we did receive some rough ballpark cost estimates for how much it's going to cost the federal government to rebuild the North Rim. It's between $750 million and $1.5 billion. So we're grateful for that investment in our future and the whole nation's future. And it couldn't be possible, again, without everyone working together. So that partnership has been encouraging to us. And this was so neat. I wanted to show you. I didn't realize this. The fellow who created Brighty is from Kanab, Peter Jepson. So this is the only Brighty statue like this that he created. He also made like 100 different little figurines of Brighty, and it's so precious that we're going to get that back. Okay, what else is new? What have you been up to? New businesses and new offerings throughout Kane County. So we had the idea to ask everybody, hey, if you've got a new business that you want shared, or you have something significantly new about your existing business, please, let's make a video celebrating you. So that's what this is, and so many of you are in the room today that contributed to this, so let's do it. Isn't that incredible? So that's been a collaboration with the tourism folks here in Kanab, and Lacey Brown put this together. And the idea is, this is the first viewing of that video, and then from here it will be pushed out to people who have likely to have visited us before and don't know what all else is new, and kind of just refresh that interest. So emerging opportunities that we've got together. So this is, I've shown you the problems, I've shown you what's going well, and then these are unsolved things that are opportunities to get involved with. So one of them I wanted to bring up is regarding agriculture. I learned this year that Utah has a trade deficit when it comes to food. So, for example, we only grow 6 to 7% of the produce and about half of the meat that we consume. All the rest we have to import from other states or other countries. And how might we fix that? It just leaves some opportunities to explore diversification and supplemental production and processing of foods. Some ideas might be apricots or rabbit farming. If you're interested in any of that, let's talk and figure out what resources might be available. And also, a partnership opportunity with the transportation connector on the east side of Zion. So just those gap years that are going to be the next 1 to 2.5 years of we need to solve for what happens when people pull up in an oversized vehicle from the east side and they want to visit the park. How does someone get from the east side of the park to the inside of the park? And if you've got ideas or resources, please let's talk. Darren, I know we discussed a little bit and just kind of close that loop. And then, just so you know, we have been working with the state, the parks, the nonprofit helpers on this, and Washington County. We really appreciate all of us putting our heads together. We've gotten pretty far, almost there, and there's just that little bit. You know what they say with the 80-20 rule. Yes, I'm just gonna leave it there. And finally, that really cool paleo center I showed you with the 100-foot dinosaur and all the investment is probably going to take, with the local partnership, about $20 to $24 million. We have approached Jurassic World through some contacts that we're blessed to have. They have not said yes or no yet, so we're going to be working with the Southern Utah Economic Alliance on this, and others. So if you know someone who has $20 to $24 million and they'd like to invest in a family-friendly paleo center in Bigwater, please let us know. Okay, and the last thing that I want to show you is a video that they put together mocking up what this. Can you see? Okay, good, because I really want you to see this. Is so fun, of that 100-foot tall dinosaur and what it would look like as you're coming from Kanab and approaching. Oh, first a picture of Dr. Alan Titus and Kelly Stoll at the visitor center that's existing right now with all the exhibits, planning and talking about what it could be and wanting to preserve this resource for all of us. Also, just so you know, that visitor center that was opened back up this year had 130 visitors on its very first day. We were turning away that many people on a daily basis that would stop there thinking they were going to use the bathroom or see the cool dinosaur exhibit. And so to capture that and reopen that, it really is a huge success. Okay, check this out. So this is on the south side of the 89, and Roger's got this big idea to put all kinds of succulents and have it just be an oasis in the desert with water running through it, and it really wouldn't be that expensive to do. Lots of little shops, each freestanding, making use of the existing facility. So this is already here. and they're guessing $10 to go up there. That's what they put into their metrics. And there they are, the couple. We're going to be Insta famous again. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. It means the world to see you all here. And real quick before I step down, I just wanted to point out who else is here from the county today. So we have Commissioner Gwynn Brown. Do you want to stand up? All right, at least wave. And Commissioner Kubea wanted to be here, but her daughter is getting married tomorrow across the country, so she's not here in person, but she's here in spirit. And anyone else with the county, thank you for all that you've put together, getting the space ready and manning the booths. Is anyone here? Are they all working in the back? Okay. And I just want to introduce you to Kyler Ludwig. He's the Kanab City Manager, and he's going to have something super fun, a big surprise for us, so get ready. Thank you, Tyler.
Well, Kanab is a place that we all love, I hope. And if you don't love it, it's because you've not been here long enough. And so you just got to stay a little longer. I have 10 minutes, though, today to talk about the things that have gone on in Kanab. And a lot has happened between projects that are going on. I mean, I sit through a lot of meetings, and I could give a report on that. We do budgets. We've had really long days. What I want to start with is, this is a bad picture, but it's a pothole that I was putting my hand in to show how deep it was. It was about 18 inches. We invested more in street preservation this year than ever before here in Kanab. Yeah, okay. Now, most of the time, people aren't going to clap for that. Like, we could invest so much money in filling potholes, and it makes Kanab slightly more livable. What I want to talk about, though, today is lovable communities. It's what we can do to make the community something that we fall in love with, not that just is livable. And so infrastructure is important, and I love it. And if you want, I have a booth in the corner with Emily's back there. We can talk infrastructure all day long. But what we want to talk about today is lovable communities. What makes Kanab the place that you love? It's the faces that we recognize. It's the culture. It's the traditions. That's what makes Kanab the place that we want to be. And I want to go over some of the things that I love about Kanab. I love going to Levi Stewart Park with my family and doing the new Light Bright this year. I love it. I love that opportunity. I love sitting and watching fireworks with 7,000 of my closest friends every 4th of July. I love the parks. And this is a new park that we're putting in, or an extension to a park we're putting in, and the new trees that are going in. That's what makes Kanab a place that I love. I love the opportunities. This is an education opportunity for kids to learn about how sewer lines are put in. I love that opportunity to teach the future youth what goes into our infrastructure, more than the infrastructure itself. I love the buzz of the planes of the Rutan fly-in every September that a lot of you may complain about, but I love it. And I love that this year was the first year that we had a breakfast or a lunch that the public got to come and interact with those pilots. These are the opportunities that make Kanab a place that we love. It's finding 10,000 Easter eggs in the park. And it's pure chaos, and it's about 3 weeks of stuffing eggs and about 10 seconds of finding them. But I love it. I love that on the last day of the pool, you can bring your dog, and you can swim with your dog. Well, you don't swim with your dog. We let you on the side. The dogs get to the pool that day. These are the things that make a community something that you fall in love with. It's something that you have a relationship with. It's not potholes, like I said. It's showing your art on display outside of the museum. This is a place kids at the library got to put their art on display. Also, adults who went to the farmers markets got to put their art on display outside. And I love that. This is what causes us to fall in love with our community. It's that in Kanab, our recreation programs aren't just football and baseball. We get to enjoy our backyard and do rappelling and climbing. I love that about our community. Kanab is a place where we walk together. This is a 9/11 walk where our firefighters walked downtown to honor those who had fallen in the past. And I love that Kanab's a community, and I walked with the firefighters here. I love that Kanab is a community where we had families stop and put their hands on their heart as the firefighters are walking by. They're applauding, cars are honking. We're in this together. That's the memories that we love about our community and our city. And so I want you to think about the question, what do you love about Kanab? What is it that makes Kanab a place that you call home? And we have cards on your table that are your opportunity to write your love note to Kanab. Write what it is that you love about Kanab. And there's a mailbox in the corner for you to put that in. And we also, in the corner, have a little recording booth that you can talk about what you love about Kanab, so we can share that with community. We need to be sharing our stories about what makes Kanab a place we love. Not ranting and raving, but sharing those opportunities and sharing those things, whether it's a park bench or sitting under a tree watching your kids play at Jacob Hamlin Park. These are the things that we love about community. It could be looking at the night sky and seeing the northern lights this year, which was so cool. I want you to take the opportunity to write down what you love about Kanab and put it in that mailbox for us. We want to share these. We want the community to know what makes Kanab so special and share those places that we love. I asked department heads a similar question this year. I said, Peter Kagayama he's an author. He writes For the Love of Cities, and he talks about love notes. Love notes that we have in a community. They're places and things that cause us to have a relationship with the community. Like I said, it could be a park. It could be a piece of public art that you fall in love with. And I asked, what are the love notes here in Kanab? And one of the department heads said, I love the K on K Hill when it's lit up on a Friday night. I don't always go to the games, but I feel connection to the community when I see that lit up on a Friday night. And I had been here for about 3 years, and the lights had never worked. And so what we did was we said, we've got to fix that. We didn't form a committee. We didn't go wait and ask questions. We went and we fixed it because this is a love note to our community. It's a place that we feel connected and we can really feel togetherness through that light. And I know it sounds silly, but when you look up on a Friday night and you see that K and you know that the football team's on the field, even if you're not there, it's a chance for us to come together. These love notes don't have to be moments of just joy. They can be moments of trial. This year we had a fire in Kanab Creek. There was a lot of firefighters who came from across southern Utah, but what really was special to me was when I saw Public Works drive with their water truck. They're not firefighters, but they came to help out. It was the friends of people on Sedona Valley who were coming to spray down the rooftops of those they cared about. It was Chief Cram when he saw a fire start in the lot next to my house, and he stomps it out for me to make sure that I still have a home to come back to. This is community and it's love, and these are love notes that we have for each other that make Kanab the place we want to call home. Cities are really good and sometimes not so good at infrastructure. They're things that make our community livable. The place that we want to call home, though, comes from you. They're love notes. It's these special events that we do. It's the Greyhound gathering and seeing the Greyhound parade. That's a sweet little love note. And I just want to share and have you think about, what is it that I love about Kanab? What is it that makes this place special? And how can I share it with my friends and with my neighbors? And so before I go, write down. I actually still have 1 minute and 46 seconds left, which is plenty of time for you to write a love note. What is it that you love about Kanab? What makes it special? What makes it the place that you want to come back to after you go on your trip to Hawaii or Puerto Rico or Santa Fe? Where is it? Why do you want to come back here? Write your love notes and then come back to the booth and record so we can share that with the community, what makes Kanab a place we want to call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyler. Oh. As the devil on Kyler's shoulder, I hope no one writes something about potholes in your love note. Thank you, Kyler. Really appreciate that. I think we all love this community, and that's really why we're here today as well. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Jeanette Petras, the Kane County Tourism Director. Really appreciate everything that Jeanette does for the county. She's on the front lines of destination development, transit room tax collections and management, and all the fun things that come with that. But in her role, Jeanette works at the intersection of economic development and community development, helping ensure tourism growth supports local businesses. And really appreciate you being here today, Jeanette. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kelly. I'm happy to be here with all of you today. I was a little nervous this morning, and then I walked in the door here and I started seeing all my friends. And so that's something I'm going to say I love about Kanab and King County too, is that we are all like a big family and we're all friends. And I immediately felt calm and I thought, I'm just going to be talking to my friends, and I can do that real well. So start off with, I am the King County Office of Tourism Director. We have a great team and we do a lot of different things. Really quick, I'm going to share this picture here is of our whole team. We do the events marketing, we do events, we do tourism marketing, the Kanab Center, the Visitor Center here in Kanab, also the Visitor Center. We're staffing that over in Bigwater, as Celeste mentioned. So I'm just really grateful for this team here that I get to work with. They do a lot, and I'm just really lucky to have such a great staff and great team to work with. To start off with, though, why do we do this? And this is a really good example of why, this slide. And I know it's a little bit hard to see. I'll talk it over. But in Kane County, the latest data I have is that we have 1,760 jobs that are either direct or indirect tourism. So direct to tourism is 1,425 jobs. So this is the people who are dealing directly with tourists or travelers, visitors. This is hotel, this is restaurants, this is tour guides. This is all the different things of tourism. Also, then the indirect jobs is 334 is the last data that I had. Now this is things, I mean, there's lots of examples of indirect, but just one thing I thought of was this is the mechanic who's fixing the ATV for the ATV company, possibly. So indirect and direct is a big deal here in Kane County. And my job, I feel, is to help that and to help all of you. So just know too, my door is always open and I always want to help and be there to take suggestions and do what you guys want, because we're basically working for you. Our top 3 job categories that are under this are accommodations, food service, recreation. Those are the top 3. The list does go on there, and you can see that. And you can see there our jobs peaked in 2023, the amount of jobs we had in tourism. Now we're down a little bit, and I haven't received the 2025 data yet, so that will be fun to add. Okay, I need to keep my time. Okay. I like to go over this. This is how we're funded. A lot of you are already familiar with this, but this is the TRT tax. So my office is funded by hotel stays, vacation rental stays, RV park stays here in Kane County. We're not using any other taxpayer dollars for funding for anything that we do. Of that, so that Kane County charges a 4.5% TRT tax that's on those lodging properties. and then that goes to the state, and then we get that back, but we have guidelines. So when we get that money back, we can't just spend it on anything we want. We have to spend it on, especially my department, it has to be on establishing and promoting. And so that's what we do. Everything that we do, we have an angle of this is establishing Kane County, this is promoting Kane County. So we get 44% of that back, and that is the budget of the Kane County Office of Tourism. The other part, the 56%, is used for mitigation in the county from tourism things. Also EMS, it's used for, I didn't want to miss these main ones. There's roads, EMS, and search and rescue. Those are the three big ones that come out of the other 56%. And then also, I am on the Tourism Tax Advisory Board, and that board advises the commission on how best to spend the other part of the money. Okay, so that's how we're funded. So what do we do with that money? We've had a lot of great campaigns over the years, a lot of ways to promote Kane County. Right now we're doing Base Camp Kanab. It's really being well received. People love it. People can really resonate with it. I have people come in the visitor center and they say, I've asked them, well, why are you here? And they're like, well, it just seemed like a base camp. And I'm like, exactly, it is a base camp. So this is just an example of some of the digital ads we've done, the social ads, poster, lots of things, and I'm going to share our video in case you haven't seen it. It's my next slide.
Welcome to Base Camp, Southern Utah's landing zone, launch point, and home of the free to wander, where you stay to go. Follow roads that lead off-road, over coral-pink clouds of sand to 3 national parks, through hidden walkways and otherworldly landscapes, and more caves and canyons than your itinerary thought it could handle. Or you can pump the brakes or punch the gas. Base Camp Kanab. Stay here to go anywhere.
So we thought that was kind of fun. And I don't know if you've seen that. We did run it here a little bit here in Kane County, but just know the most part, you're not seeing these ads because we already here. We don't need to get you to come here. So just know that we are doing all these things behind the scenes outside of Kane County internationally as well. We also sometimes do micro campaigns, and this was a fun one we did last year. When things dipped in the summer, internationals was down this last year. International down, as for the state, it's down about 8 to 10%. As you probably hear about this on the news, the country's down. Our whole United States is down for international tourism. We're hoping that we can get that back, and we are still keeping a strong presence internationally, trying to be there when they're ready to come back, and we're hopeful that they'll be back this next year. Also, the Grand Canyon, as Celeste mentioned, it was a big hit for us. So we wanted to do something to just additionally get people to stay here. We came up with the idea of the Shoulda Got a Guide campaign. This was kind of a fun campaign we did, a little bit teasing on what happens when you don't get a guide, and like your mom tries to take you on vacation and she might not know all the ins and outs. It is talking about guides, but we realize that if people, and studies show, if someone stays in an area for 3 hours, there's a really good chance they're going to stay the night, they're going to eat at another restaurant, they're going to do a little more shopping. So we felt like getting the Get a Guide campaign brings people here and hopefully gets them another night stay in Kane County. Also our events, I know you're all familiar with our events. These are just 2 of our big events. These were the biggest ones last year. We've got such a great events team that is super busy doing all the things. We just wrapped up the Polar Express. I don't know if any of you got to attend that, but that's a big one as well. But yes, our events are also ways that we try to get people to come stay the night. Even the Polar Express is bringing people to stay the night. We have a repeat customer from, I think, Michigan, that is staying the night here to visit the Polar Express. So our events are doing well, and we appreciate all the support, all the sponsorships that you guys do to help us with those. Grants and sponsorships is another thing we do. Of course, we're always encouraging the events that bring people to stay the night. And this last year, we spent up to over $65,000 on events that you all are doing. When you apply for a grant or a sponsorship, we can help you to put your event on. If you can show us and prove that it's going to bring hotel stays like 10 room nights, then we can help you with a grant or a sponsorship. Okay, this is big news. I'm sure you've all seen our building is pretty tore up over there. We're so excited to be getting a new place. I loved the old building. I loved it was sentimental. I'm from here, for those of you who don't know, it's been there my whole life. So that was fun. It's been fun to be in that building, but it's time to revamp. That building had the one bathroom. That was tough for the lots of tourists that we have every day and all through the year. So this is a drawing of what our new building's going to look like. It's coming along. Hopefully we'll be in there by next fall, and you'll all be able to come in and enjoy it. We're going to be having a lot more facilities inside, bathrooms, just more space. Hopefully we can get more buses to stop. And again, hopefully people come in. Of course, we want to always remind people to be safe. That's something we feel that if you stop in the visitor center, it might save you from going into Slot Canyon when it's raining, because you're going to find out we shouldn't do that. And these tourists, sometimes they don't know. Also, maybe they'll find out all the cool hidden gems we have and you'll stay another night. So we're real excited about that and hopeful, and we're just really looking forward to getting in there. In the meantime, if you need us, if you ever need maps or anything, we're over at the BLM Visitor Center that's across from the 7-Eleven. Okay, so how are we doing? We have a lot of ways of tracking. There's companies out there that are tracking all of us and what we're doing. It's kind of creepy, but we're doing it because we want to know who's here. This is just an example of how we're seeing who's here in the United States or coming from the United States, and we know who to market to. The United States, with International down, the United States is super important that we hit it hard, and so we're doing that along with our marketing company and putting our ads, targeting them to these places where we're seeing that people are coming from. Also, we look at the international markets. We work really closely with the state on international. We have reps. The state has reps in probably, let's see, all of those markets actually. So all of our these are our top 8. We have reps in these markets, the state does, and I work closely with them. We do campaigns over there, we do sales missions, we do whatever we can do to keep Kanab on their mind. And Base Camp Kanab, again, really resonates with them because they travel so far. Sometimes it's really great to stay here in Kanab, make it your base camp, and then go to Zion, go to Bryce, go out and see the points at the Grand Canyon, even if you can't go to the lodge. But that's what we're really trying to get that message out. And to see how we did this year. So the purple line here, the thickest one, you can see that this is our hotel occupancy. You can see that we followed the same track that we've been doing, which is really great, considering too we got another hotel. Our hotel stays are dispersed, so our occupancy was a little bit down, but we still followed the trends. I was really happy to see this. With the Grand Canyon closing, I was worried that we might see a big dip, which there was a bit of a dip, but we did still have those same trends. So people are still coming here. I think we've built ourselves as a place that people know that Kanab's a place on their map and that they can come here and there's lots to do, even if they can't go to the lodge at the Grand Canyon. Okay, and this is my last slide. I'm out of time, but I'll just do this one quickly. This is really important. This is the TRT tax. This is what we use to track and see how we're doing, basically. And you can see our best year was in 2022 of the past 5 years. But we are close. We're getting back to that 2022 highest year. That's the highest year King County's ever had, was in 2022. And we're getting close to being back up there. We're 2% up from last year. So even with everything, the international, the Grand Canyon, we're still up 2%. So that was great. And like I said, our hotel occupancy, we're about 54%. Our short-term rentals also, we recognize they're a big deal here in Kane County. We've got about 1,100 short-term rentals, so that's almost as many hotel rooms as we have. So lots of short-term rentals, and they're averaging about 47% occupancy. So our visitors are coming. They're just a little bit dispersed because we've got lots of hotels, lots of short-term rentals for them to stay at. And I will just finish up with a push for Balloons and Tunes. Remind you all that's coming up, let's see, February 20th, 21st, and 22nd, that weekend. So hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thanks for the update. Really appreciate it. How's everybody doing out there? They're starting to take breakfast away, so if you need to grab anything before it's gone, now is your chance. And let's see, Clayton, pick a number between 1 and 26. Dirk Clayson, we've got a door prize for you. Well, there you are, Dirk. Thanks for being here. We'll make sure to get that to you. I'm going to give a quick little presentation. And again, my name's Kelly Stowell. I do economic development for Kane County. These are my 3 focus initiatives: outdoor recreation, film commission, and economic development. These are our Kane County economic development strategies. We have some, now you know. One of my emphasis is the Rural County Grant Program with the state of Utah. We're fortunate to have a lot of support throughout the state, and this is a program that came about 2020, and we've been participating in it ever since. We get grant money from the state for economic development projects, which include business training and skills development, community-driven economic development planning, capital infrastructure, and small business development. I've got a list of projects I could read off, but that we've done this last year. We also have the Recreation Transportation Special Service District. That's another great community asset that has funding for community projects. Part of our rural county grant funds go towards business trainings. We're fortunate to have Southwest Tech as one of our partners. We've got their table right there, Caden and JR and everybody. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate your support and the trainings that we do with Southwest Tech. We have a few upcoming. On January 14th, we have Eric Kirby with Mastering Habits for Success. Then on February 11th, Mastering Conflict and Crucial Conversations. March 11th, Mastering the Power of Persuasion. And April 15th, Delegation, Empowerment, and Accountability. And there's a few other trainings. Please visit the website for the CNAB classes, or please come and talk to us about it. We'd love to see you there. Is Nicole Black here? There's Nicole. Stand up and say hi. Thanks for being here. We have a new organization. It was announced last year. It's the Southern Utah Economic Alliance, which Nicole is a part of, and it's a regional nonprofit economic development organization dedicated to driving sustainable growth across southern Utah. It unites public and private stakeholders to deliver coordinated data-informed strategies serving businesses, communities, and investors. So it's another resource for us to help try to diversify the economy. We also have Jackie Hobson here. Thanks for being here, Jackie, with the Small Business Development Center. So we have a lot of resources. I hope everyone gets to go and visit all the vendors. We care about business. We want to see the business community thrive. And we have a couple of, so Jackie is going to be coming out to CNAB once per month on the Chamber of Commerce Luncheon Day, which is the second Thursday of each month. And she'll be at the county courthouse in the small conference room and is available for business consulting. And on Thursday, February 12th, 4 to 5:30 p.m., Business 101, which is especially for startups, and it'll cover startup essentials. And then March 12th, Build a Bankable Business Plan. And Jackie has some info on those trainings. So thank you. Is Colette here? Do you want to come up and talk about the Blueprint program? It's a new program with the state of Utah. I think it's in the second year, and it focuses on economic development planning for communities. And we had a couple of communities apply for this funding. And Colette, you want to give us a quick rundown?
Thank you so much, Kelly. It's exciting to be here to announce that 2 areas in Kane County have been selected through the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity to participate in the Blueprint program this year. And so I'd like to congratulate CNAB and East Zion for being selected. We have some enthusiastic participants from your county who are proactively building economic development plans in conjunction with the state regional and local economic development partners. And this program comes to Kane County at no cost. It is a service through GOEO, and it is the foundation for building your economic strength for the future and accessing grants and other programs, again, through our state and regional partners. So congratulations to Kanab City and East Zion. They were the two were pulled out of 8 total for the whole state this year. So really looking forward to working with you this year and looking forward to working with you, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you, Colette. Like I said, we're really fortunate to have a lot of support from the state. As I mentioned, one of my emphasis is film. It wouldn't be Little Hollywood without some filmmaking going on. One of our big initiatives right now is the Rural Film Incentive, which was instituted a couple of years ago. We're trying to get it funded, which has been a huge deal for us. We've had a lot of incentivized projects that benefit the economy. One project that I just want to highlight briefly, it was on public broadcast network for Utah, and it was called Utah in Hollywood, and we have a lot of local folks featured in that documentary. It's on PBS's website, and check that out. I could talk about film stuff for a long time, but with that, we'll keep moving with the program. So let me just switch gears here. So next, we are happy to have Camille Johnson Taylor from the formerly of the Kane County Office of Tourism, now with the State of Utah Office of Tourism. And Camille is actually a spy for us that we've planted with the Utah Office of Tourism to give us all the inside knowledge, and so that we have all the advantages, even though all the other rural communities in the state aren't as good as us anyway. But we really appreciate Camille's leadership and everything that you do for us with tourism at the state level, and we're excited to hear what's happening at the state level. Thanks, Camille.
Thanks, Kelly. I haven't been called a spy before, but I am partial to Kane County. So for those of you who don't know me, Camille Johnson with the Utah Office of Tourism, the Director of Community and Partner Relations, part of the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, get to be colleagues with Colette Cox. And I'm lucky enough that I still get to live here in Kanab. And so Kyler's presentation really resonated. I truly love Kanab, and I find myself so lucky, and I'm so grateful for a governor who really emphasizes and places so much support in rural Utah. All right, we can go to the next slide here. Maybe. Oh, I'm sorry. That's me. That's my job, not yours, Clayton. I wanted to share our vision and mission just to kind of level set who we are, what we do. Our vision is a state united in welcoming the world to experience awe-inspiring adventure. That's a promise we really feel like we can deliver on, and opportunities like this, leveraging these convening opportunities, it gives us a great opportunity to be at the table and to unite as a state. And our mission, elevate life in Utah by advancing the visitor economy through marketing, stewardship, and destination development. The way I read that too is we really get to leverage the tourism economy to benefit us as locals. Some of you may have heard of the Red Emerald Strategic Plan. That's our internal strategic plan. These are our guiding imperatives. We're known for our powerful branding, so continue our powerful branding, prioritize quality visitation, not just quantity visitors, but those quality visitors. And then enable community-led visitor readiness. We're not prescriptive. We don't like to tell communities what to do. We really listen to them, find out how we can support them. And then distributing visitation, and that can be seasonally, geographically, or even time of day. Our high-value visitor economy, it's not just about the economic impact, but we have a tremendous economic impact. You can see there on the right the numbers from 2024. There's always that lag of numbers coming in. So over $13 billion in visitor spending, over $2.5 million in tax revenue, and that means over $1,200 a year tax relief for every household. It's much higher than that. This is just the state relief. There's a lot of money that's spent locally that you don't have to tax your locals for that also creates additional tax relief. And then the cool thing about that is, to Jeanette's point of the way you can spend the money for projects, Just like this Kanab Center was fully paid for through tourism tax dollars, it's something that we get to enjoy as locals, but it was built for visitors. Visitors use it and locals get to use it as well. And then that resident satisfaction that we get to enjoy these things, it improves our quality of life. We have more restaurants because of visitation. We have 2 grocery stores here, probably because of the numbers of visitors. Our hospital has more doctors, nurses, because of the numbers of visitors that go to our hospital. And really educating our visitors that they're well prepared. They're prepared to have the best trip that they can, not only being safe, but being respectful, appreciating our culture, and spending in our local businesses, and then managing our recreation effectively. This is a snapshot of our office. Considering the size of our state and the scope of work that we do, it's a relatively small staff, but we do a lot of great work. Jeanette talked about the way she receives funding through transient room tax and restaurant tax. Our office is funded quite differently. We get a legislative appropriation every year. It's the Tourism Marketing Performance Fund, and we received about $2 million reduction over the last couple of years, so we're having to do all the same things with a little bit less money. So 10% of that goes straight to the Sports Commission, a different organization. They handle the big legacy sporting events. And then the next 20% goes to our co-op marketing grant, which is leveraged by all of our tourism offices, some nonprofits, tribes, and municipalities. And it really gives lift to their marketing efforts. And Jeanette's done a great job of leveraging that funding year over year, always one of the top recipients of that grant. And then the rest of the money our office uses for that marketing development and stewardship efforts. I thought I'd focus a little bit on my team's work and how you guys can leverage that. How many of you are business owners in here? Awesome, a good majority. How many of you are in the public sector? Okay, so good cross-section here. So you know who I am, and then I've got Rachel Crayer, Partner Resource Manager. Some of you are getting acquainted through her through a program I'll talk about a little bit later. She lives up in the Ogden area. Michelle Evans is our grant specialist, and she lives in Beaver. She's a former tourism director as well, so a great connection to the region and to the industry. And then Lacey Shumway lives in Moab, and she's a former Chamber of Commerce president, also well connected to the region and the industry. And then Diane Wilson is our longest employee at Utah Office of Tourism. She'll be celebrating 30 years this year. And so our team is so lucky to have her. She is a wealth of information and keeps us functioning. But the point is, too, that because we are a community-led office, it's great that we have presence in community throughout the state to really understand the nature of the communities and what they're trying to do. Looking at my timer there. This is the way my team works. We really engage with communities, partners, stakeholders, trying to understand what they're trying to accomplish, what resources we have or that we could develop or that we could connect them to with other agencies, and then really educating them on that, providing that support so that they can activate in their communities and provide that lift that they need, and then continuing that process. Some of the ways that we do engagement, we've done partner tours in just about every county throughout the state, and we'll continue to reach the few that we haven't. And we get to meet with a good cross-section of the community just to better understand, again, what they're trying to do, what their pinch points are, and how we can help. And then leveraging convening opportunities like this at conferences to really connect with our partners. And then the Speakers Bureau, which is like today, getting to speak to all the different organizations so that they better understand our work and that we can work together. We work with a lot of different state agencies. As I mentioned, we don't always have the resources that we're connecting communities with, and so we work collaboratively with our state agencies and often hand off our partners to them to accomplish what they're trying to do. Can you guys hear me okay? I know that fan kicked on. And then we work a lot with our federal public lands. That's a big part of our tourism here in Utah. We work with our national parks, BLM, Forest Service, and the nonprofit partners to the parks. And all the different associations throughout the state, the Utah Association of Destination Marketing Organizations, which Jeanette is part of, all the different tourism directors, Utah Tourism Industry Association, Utah League of Cities and Towns, the associations of governments, Utah Guides and Outfitters. It goes on and on. We're just really trying to be connected and leverage all those different opportunities. Commissioner Myers mentioned the fee change, so this is a pretty big deal, and we didn't have a lot of runway to deal with it. They announced it in November, and it was implemented January 1st, and so this was a big communications challenge, but we do have a strong network globally to get the word out. And so this is for foreigners. The pass went from $80 annually up to $250 annually, so that's a pretty big change. We hadn't had a fee increase at our park since 2007, so it was overdue that they needed more funding for that to reinvest in that conservation infrastructure and modernization with digital access. There's also 11 parks in the US that they opted to do a $100 per day per person surcharge if they don't have the annual pass. So what that looks like if two people went to two of our parks, Zion and Bryce, because those two parks are two of the 11 in the US that leverage that surcharge. So they would pay the entrance fee of $35 per park roughly. Then Zion, the surcharge for those two people would be $200. At Bryce, $200. That would come up to $470. So we're just encouraging them to buy the America the Beautiful annual pass at $250, which covers the car full. So it's a lot more economical, and that's just what our communication has been, is get that annual pass and it will be a lot more economical. And yeah, this was a big deal, a big change, and very quickly. And then partner newsletter, this is one of our communication pieces. We send this out monthly. We have that regular cadence, but we also send out special editions in the case of like the surcharge change, really trying to inform the industry. We had the longest government shutdown in history, and so we did a lot of special edition communications with that. So I would recommend, if you are in the tourism industry, to subscribe to this newsletter. We have a lot of valuable information, updates, what our office is working on, and how you might leverage that. And that all feeds back into our industry website, which is different than our visitor-facing website. So it's travel.utah.gov. I recommend bookmarking that because it is a rabbit hole full of incredible information and resources. Some of those things are listed over there, and I'll go into it a little bit more. One of our most popular tabs is the Data and Research tab. We have so many things. I know Jeanette's nodding. Our DMOs love this tab. But we have visitor profiles, tourism impact information, county-specific profiles like Jeanette shared with the direct and indirect jobs. We have that for every county. And then the lodging information, park visitation numbers, international visitation information, and then resident sentiment survey results. We're always keeping a pulse on how our residents are feeling about the industry. And then some toolkits that you might leverage are also the agritourism. If any of you are in that space, if you're ag producers and wanting to diversify your revenue source, we have that toolkit. Dark skies, I think you guys have probably heard this, almost 90% of the world doesn't see the Milky Way because they live in high population areas. People love to come to Utah to visit our night skies. We have more dark sky designations than anywhere in the world, and it's just amazing. We're so lucky to have that. It's as much a part of our viewscape as I'd say the Red Cliffs or any of our nice scenic assets. And then for responsible visitation, Utah Forever and Leave No Trace. Again, just trying to educate visitors on how to be a good visitor and have the best experience and the best trip. Let's go back to that. The Utah Forever too, as businesses, if you don't already have a visitor education woven into your messaging, there's a great framework that you can utilize on all different levels. If you're a public lands partner, private sector, there's every partner, it's relevant to them for them to leverage. Oh, I think I skipped. And then we've got some federal funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, Economic Development Administration, and we leverage that for all different projects. And one of them that we used it for was this niche audience interest survey, or research rather. And if you are in any of these areas, you can learn about their travel motivations, spending habits, demographics, sentiments, behaviors, and how the best ways to reach them. So it's really valuable research. It's really easy to understand, so check that out. And then we have access to the Tourism Exchange platform. We've done the heavy lifting of investing in this. It's no cost to you as businesses, But once you're on the platform, you can opt in to all the different booking channels. Some of them you may already have, so it's kind of a buffet where you get to pick that I don't have this avenue to book, I'd like to opt into that. And then also you can reach new international markets. A lot of us Americans don't realize that travelers internationally often book through travel agents. Travel is really sacred to foreigners. Us Americans, we work too hard and need to travel a little bit more. But this is a great platform and it's a great resource. And also if you're a new business and you don't have a website, we have something called TX Load where you can load all your inventory and manage it from there. So if you're not on this, I highly recommend it. And then this is also something new that we've done. We did the first one last year, the Tourism Business Development Workshop. We did it in Cedar City, and this year we get to host it on my home turf, which I'm so grateful for. This will be April 22nd, 23rd. We're working so closely with Jeanette's team. It'll be a great event, and it's actually free because of federal funding that we're using for this project as well. It's first come, first serve, and if you sign up for that newsletter, you'll be notified of when that registration is live. And we are focusing on agritourism, astrotourism, and then new this year is film and culture, and what a great destination to do it in with our incredible film history. And so there'll be a lot of resources for you as businesses to create new experiences or improve on those experiences or leverage resources to help your business. This is a new pilot program that we're doing to help communities increase their product development, and Kane County is one of those pilot counties, and so I'm super grateful for the participation from Kane County, Iron County, and Sevier County. And there was an application process for businesses to participate in this. Each area got 4 selected through our process, and it was really those who were best suited for the program, and the timing was right for them. So raise your hand if you're in the room and you're part of that program. Yeah, that's awesome. Kanab Tour Company was one of those selected. It's an 8-month program, started in October, and it will conclude in May. And Tiff, are you enjoying the process? Awesome. They'll be in community next week, again, furthering this process. So we'll evaluate it, see how it goes, and see how that might look on an ongoing basis of supporting our businesses in community. Like I said, it's an 8-step process. Joe Benito, our contractor, an experienced expert, he had a dialed-in 7-step process, but we have a really strong global markets team, so we added that 8th step of going global. And then everyone's always interested, again, in our powerful branding, our marketing from our office. So I thought I'd share a little bit about that. Ben Cook is our marketing director, and he's done a great job. And if you've participated in any of our board meetings or presentations, this is his graphic that he will go down in history of putting out there. It's the McKinsey loyalty loop that he adapted for tourism. And it really identifies the space that we work in. You can see over there on the right, the Office of Tourism, and that high-level brand awareness over time and getting people to consider us from other destinations. And then the local DMOs or tourism offices are really instrumental in differentiating themselves from other areas. And then really the buying takes place with the guides and outfitters, the lodging, the attractions, and that's where they bond and become loyal. They become repeat visitors. They refer their friends and family, so we're all part of that loyalty loop. These are our key audiences. Those first 3 are pretty self-explanatory: adventurers, families, skiers, and then the venturistas. They're those with that strong online presence. They love to post about their outdoor activities and pairing it with some urban experiences or culinary experiences. These are our campaigns, the Parks and Beyond, which really features our national parks, state parks, all the red rock scenes that you can experience in southern Utah, and then Ski in Winter or the greatest snow on earth. And then our urban and outdoors. And then Ben has done a great job, because I mentioned we did have a budget reduction of really trying to get more brand awareness, building our brand equity. And so we've got those brands that will still exist, our campaigns that still exist, but really pulling them all under our broader brand of Life Elevated and leveraging more brand equity so that they see the similarities in our campaigns. Where is Don Jennings? Back there. Oh, I was going to have you read this. Kate, who has a strong reading voice? that wants to volunteer? Tanner Chamberlain, I see you. You got a booming voice. Would you do your best radio announcer voice? Yes, come on up here, and while you do that, then, yes. He is going to read what a Utah person is. There's only a few people I would dare do this to. Tanner, you're one of them. You can stand in front of the stage so you can see it.
Owe me later, so. There's just one type. We come from all backgrounds and places, united by a love for the outdoors, community, and a little good-natured fun. So if you choose powder, crave canyons, and believe the best amenity is no cell service, you just might be one of us. The ones who light up at Red Rock, get giddy over snow totals, and wake early for every sunrise. A little different, maybe, but you'll fit right in.
That was amazing. I knew he would nail it. So you guys might be a Utah person if you identify with any of this. I thought I would share a couple of pieces of the creative because this is the sexy stuff. You know, when I start talking about grants, you can see people glaze over, but this is fun stuff. So I'll share first the family spot and then a Venturista spot. Did you guys recognize some of those areas, those visuals? That was fun. Our marketing director asked for a little help, and we had some help from our guides and outfitters getting the production crew out there. And then the next one is the Venturista spot. I love it. And so we even have similar type creative with the greatest snow on earth, where you'll see the winter images with that same type of scripting, so that again it merges that brand equity and we can get a little bit further with our audiences. I'm looking that I'm about out of time. I had a lot more to go through because we always have such great work, but I'm just going to speed through and put, there we go, my email address on there. If there's anything that I shared that you want to know more about, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you so much. It's been fun to see you all.
Staggs served 4 years on the city council and 8 years as the mayor of Riverton, Utah. He has taken a business-minded approach to municipal government, which has delivered exceptional results that include cutting property taxes, reducing fees, and saving residents tens of millions of dollars. He was also a candidate for U.S. Senate in 2024. Beyond his public sector experience, Staggs has demonstrated executive leadership necessary to successfully manage organizations ranging from Fortune 500 companies to small and medium-sized enterprises across the finance, technology, and energy sectors. He recently served on the board of an energy company he helped take public, securing the company with a listing on NASDAQ in 2022. With his passion for business, government, and identifying better ways of doing things, Staggs is uniquely positioned as a regional advocate for small business. So Trent received his bachelor's degree from the University of Utah and an MBA from the Marriott School of Business at Brigham Young University. He and his wife, Alicia, are the proud parents of 2 children. And Trent, you'll talk a little bit more, I think, about the states you cover and what your role is. And thank you so much for being here today and driving all the way down last night. Appreciate you. Come on up.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. It's really good to be with you. This is a fantastic jewel, and looking at all the tourism stats and the data, you know, it's definitely, word has gotten out. I've seen some of those commercials. They're fantastic, and so kudos to the groups here that have done so much to drive people to Kane County. To be able to wake up this morning and just see the red rocks, it's remarkable. I'm sure you hear that all the time from folks that don't have the privilege of living here 24/7. But it truly is. It's beautiful, and I'm just reminded I've been told that we can experience and witness the divinity and the power of God through His nature and through His Word. And to be able to experience the nature that you do here so close to home is truly remarkable. As Celeste was explaining, I've got a little bit of ADD. You know, when you look at my background, it's covering the gamut, really, from Fortune 100, having worked at Morgan Stanley, and so kind of in finance, and then also small to medium businesses. I've had the opportunity. I've been kind of a serial entrepreneur. I've started several of my own companies, ranging from a nationwide mortgage brokerage company to an appointment reminder technology company. I've also consulted with a lot of different entities, and the last of which was a energy company. They had both midstream oil and gas, and then also a technology that could extract or separate oil from soil, and so and be able to make both usable. So we had operations in the basin in Uinta area in Vernal, where we would extract successfully that product and be able to make bituminous material for asphalt cement. We would also do cleanup projects. We were engaged internationally in Kuwait and several areas where there was an extensive amount of environmental damage, you know, after it dates back to the Gulf War, with some 700 plus oil wells that were knocked over by Saddam Hussein, and all kinds of environmental damage there that we had the opportunity to try to address, to, you know, Houston projects there. So it really, it's business is my love. I'm with a great group here today. I've also got a little bit of municipal experience in that background, having served my community for 12 years. And I love that the city manager here and others that have spoken about Kanab, they use that word community, because that's the exact same word that I endeavored to use as mayor. I don't like the term city. It seems a little too sterile to me. And I always attempted to really make Riverton City a community. And I said it was really the participation of every single member that turns it from a city to a community. And you guys have that here. That was one of our number one things. Every year we did a citizen survey. And Riverton City is just around 50,000 in population. I think we're the 20th most populous city in the state of Utah. We have a budget of around 80 million and about 170 full-time equivalent employees. But in that citizen survey that we would distribute each year, number one thing that our residents said they wanted, and they wanted to maintain, was that sense of community. So the fact that you have that here in Kanab, and throughout Kane County is really, it's something special. That's what I think people definitely want. Now, my current role in the administration, I was appointed to this role by President Trump in May. The Small Business Administration's Office of Advocacy differs a little bit from the SBA. So the Small Business Administration, you know, will focus on things like SBDCs, on 8A contracting, on loans. You've got your 7A, your 504s, the new MARC loan that they come out with that allows working capital for those particularly in the manufacturing sector. The SBA Office of Advocacy really has one simple message, or one mission, and that is to help identify and eliminate burdensome regulation. And for those of you that are in business, you know that we've got a little bit of that to deal with, right? Regulation. My region is the 6 states that comprise Region 8 with the SBA. So we have the same region as the SBA, the EPA, a few other federal agencies. So Utah here, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. So about a week out of every month, I get to travel those states. I get to speak with business owners, conduct roundtables. You know, my job description is to work with governors, with state economic development directors, with chambers of commerce, with trade associations, and with businesses, with federal delegation members, and also with even state legislators, all in an effort to try to identify and eliminate burdensome regulation. So it's something that really resonates with me. You know, often when we say we're from the federal government, I think I'm using this correctly. Maybe I'm going the wrong way. Clayton can help me out here. Maybe. Well, here we go. So a quote that I love from Ronald Reagan, 9 most terrifying words in the English language, right? I'm from the government, I'm here to help. Who has felt that? Who has felt that? Yeah, of course we all have. But I'm here to tell you that I'm here from the government and I'm here to help. And I mean it sincerely. You'll get my contact information. You'll see hopefully some of the successes that we've had. Regulation. The National Association of Manufacturers, just this summer, they put this statistic out. I think probably Senator Lee and some others would think this is a little too low, but they guesstimate that some $3 trillion, 3 trillion with a T, is the impact of just federal regulation. Set aside state, local, $3 trillion, some $13,000 per employee just to comply with federal regulation in just businesses generally. Another barometer I like to show and look at that tells how far afield we've gone with respect to regulation is just the pages, the number of pages that we have in the Code of Federal Regulations. So the CFR, you've heard of that. What started out as a few thousand pages in the 1950s, look at today, we're over 180,000 pages. And speaking of Senator Lee, I love attending or going to his office, and he has in some plexiglass, he has the pages of the Federal Register there, and it stands feet tall, right? I mean, who can possibly have the time to go through and analyze all that and ensure that your business is in compliance with these rules and regulations? Not a lot of small businesses, right? And let me, for argument's sake, you know, small businesses are defined by the SBA. General rule is 500 or fewer employees. So when I say that I'm here to be the voice of small businesses across all federal agencies and to help them identify and eliminate burdensome regulation, we're talking about largely 500 or fewer employee organizations. Just back on regulations and looking at the burden that regulations impose on businesses, just during the Biden administration, this is an estimate, some people put it even much higher, but this is the American Action Forum that said we had $1.8 trillion cumulatively over those 4 years, $1.8 trillion in new regulations. Over 300 million paperwork hours. That's insane. That's insane. Small Business Association, this was in July, they had a survey that they sent out to small businesses across the country. And they asked, which source of regulation is the most burdensome? By far and away, federal regulations, over 50%. 2 in 5 small businesses spend more than $1,000 a year to outsource to somebody to help them with all this regulation. I found this interesting too. It said when asked approximately how much money they anticipate they would spend today if they were to start their exact same business, the average was a whopping $53,000 just on regulations. Now, all this regulation, what does it do? Well, it prevents you from hiring employees, right? The number one thing. It says that all of this regulation really, You hold off on hiring new employees. You hold off on implementing growth strategies. You have to increase pricing, which makes you maybe less competitive, right, in the marketplace, and particularly for large businesses that have the army of accountants and attorneys to deal with that. That's one thing I'll never forget when I was traveling the state while running for United States Senate. I had some small businesses tell me, some of them effectively the same thing. They would say, look, I've heard of too big to fail, but what about too small to succeed? I can't afford the army of accountants and attorneys that are required just to come into compliance. So what kind of regulations? We're dealing with a whole gamut of things. We've got executive orders, we've got advanced proposed rules, RFIs, or requests for information, direct final rules, the Office of Management Budget. There's all kinds of things that when a rule gets created, it follows a certain process, and we'll talk about that. The reason I really accepted this appointment and why I enjoy doing what I'm doing is because of the president that we have. So yes, I am a political appointee. I'm here representing the White House, really, with respect to small businesses and business outreach generally. But knowing that we have a president who is serious about regulatory reform, which I viewed as one of the biggest problems in my businesses that I've owned and operated, is refreshing. That is refreshing to me. And as evidence the fact that he is serious about regulatory reform, right out of the gate, you notice January 31st of last year, he issued an executive order entitled Unleashing Prosperity Through Deregulation. And that's a 10-to-1 rule. In Trump 1, it was 2-to-1. Said for any new regulation, you regulatory bodies, you unelected bureaucrats that Congress, unfortunately, has really kind of abdicated a lot of their role and responsibility to bureaucrats to go ahead and promulgate all these rules, those 180,000 pages that have the binding effect of law. He says, for any new regulation that you create, you got to eliminate 10. That's awesome. That's incredible. Another executive order in February of last year, this is where they talked about DOGE, and also it ties into our Office of Advocacy, and it basically says every agency head within the first 60 days of this administration was to review all rules for those that could be unconstitutional or that they could do away with. And that's exactly what they've done. So what this has spawned, and you've got a couple other executive orders that I highlight here, restoring gold standard science, seafood competitiveness, anti-competitive regulatory barriers. There's a lot that this president, this administration has done to try to reach out to businesses and say, hey, you tell us what's going on. Traditionally, the Office of Advocacy was more reactive. What we would do is we would wait for a new rule to be proposed, and then we'd go out to the business sector and say, hey, is this going to disproportionately impact you as a small business? That's a very reactive thing to do. Now, with this president and this leadership and the agency heads and the cabinet folks that he has in place, they're coming to us, putting out requests for information and saying, what is it that we can get rid of? This has been a critical component of the SBA. I said we share the same nomiker, Small Business Administration. We're technically independent because we have to be the voice for small businesses across every federal agency, and that can even include the SBA. So I've had small businesses hit me up and say, hey, I've got a pain point or a time waste or a regulatory issue with SBA. And those are things that we filled as well. But Administrator Loeffler, Kelly Loeffler, who's cabinet level, she said in her day one memo that they're going to fully staff the Office of Advocacy and utilize its power to identify and eliminate burdensome regulations promulgated by all federal agencies. So that was one of her top 10 things that she put out day one. So it's good. Again, we've got some backing from the administration. And just recently, last month, Kelly Loeffler went on to Fox Business News, I think it was December 14th, 15th, yeah. And she announced a deregulatory strike force, kind of a recommitment to the strike force, which is us, the Office of Advocacy. So that's what we want to get to. We want to understand what issues you might be having with respect to regulation and try to address those. And already in our first year, we've been able to claim success to 98.9, almost $100 billion. So almost $100 billion in compliance costs or regulatory burden on business we've been able to successfully eliminate just through our good looks and charm, through being persuasive, right, with federal agencies. And we want to continue to do more. This was in our first 100 days. Give you kind of a comparison. We already hit about 48, 50 billion. Now we're at 100 billion. And we're going to keep rolling. And what I hope to hear from you, if you have anything that is burdensome, I've been going around our 6 states. I've done roundtables in all of those states. And I partnered with other groups throughout the state of Utah. We've done quite a few. And we picked up about 120 different proposed or recommendations from businesses on rules and regulations to get rid of. And we're continuing to work through those. If you go to our website, the advocacy.sba.gov, advocacy.sba.gov, you will see on the homepage a most wanted list. We want to be able to capture that. What regulations suck? What are time waste? What are pain points for you guys as business owners? And you'll see a couple of examples of them up here. Well, just one, with the screenshot that I did. But just for example, we talked with some businesses and they said, hey, it is so time consuming for me as a small business to fill out these stupid 941 quarterlies. I don't know if you have people here that have to do that. Well, guess what? It doesn't require congressional action to change it from, say, a quarterly to an annual. If we're persuasive enough with our office and working with our agency, the IRS, we could make that change. And if we made that one change, it would save $90 billion, believe it or not, cumulatively across the country when you consider all the businesses there. There's 36 million small business registrations in the country. We have about 6 million that have employees. And in Utah, we have about 370,000 small businesses and a good 10% plus that have employees. Now that I've gone through all that, I'll say our agency had its enabling legislation back in 1976. We were put up finally in 1980. I look at this office, though, and I didn't know what it was. I mean, when I was given the opportunity to be appointed to this role, I said, the Office of Advocacy, what exactly does that do? And that tells you that one of our biggest problems is just communication. We need to let people know we exist and that we're here to listen to your concerns and try to make those changes. Again, representing small business interests across every federal agency. We're comprised of 3 divisions or 3 departments. We're very small. We only have about 40 people. There are 10 advocates like me that have been presidentially appointed. We all have a geographic region. But then I have an office of economic research and interagency affairs. So when you give me an issue, you say, hey, I don't like this in my business, I can work with my economic team and they can score the impact of that. That's how we came up with that 90 billion, let's say, on the 941 returns. And then our interagency affairs, I've got about 20 attorneys back in DC that have all been assigned a portfolio of agencies. So anything, whether the regulation that is causing you heartburn is regulated by the EPA or the FDA or the FTC, whatever, we've got it covered. We got every single one covered with one of these agencies, these interagency affairs team members. So I'll usually take an issue, write up a comment letter. If we have to score the economic impact, we can. And then we can work with the agency, usually put putting together a position paper, 5, 6 pages, say, hey, we should really look at changing this and do it in this way. That helps accomplish our threefold mission. The research component is something that doesn't get a lot of attention, but Congress did when they set us up in 1976. They mandated that we produce data for small businesses. And so a lot of small businesses, they don't have the ability to do this independently. And so if you, again, go to advocacy.sba.gov, you will see a research tab across the top, and you will find state profiles with all kinds of economic data. For Utah, for example, we're now starting to produce those based on congressional district because Congress gives us authority and they fund us and they want it now per congressional district. We also are involved in economic studies and other infographics. So if you have an issue that you would like to see studied, let me know, because our economic research team is always looking for varying studies that they can perform. They did one, I think, on cost of childcare for small businesses last year. There's all different types of economic studies that they can go ahead and produce for small businesses. This is our region. I've already walked through that, but Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and the Dakotas. And I thought it was cold coming here last night, but South Dakota is a lot colder. Our chief counsel said, hey, the president wants us to ensure we visited all of our region. What states have you not got yet, Stags? And I said, I haven't been to South Dakota. Get out there. I'm the moron that decides to go out there mid-December, to fly from Denver to Sioux Falls, and it says it's 8 degrees but feels like minus 11. So yeah, it's cold there. Multiple ways that you can send in your feedback. You can go to regulations.gov. You can contact me. We also created a red tape hotline. And you can see that at advocacy.sba.gov. The moment you go to that website, you'll see a red banner across the top. So if you don't want to talk to me, that's okay. You can call this 800 number. That was an idea that our office had and we put out. In fact, Congress likes it so much, they went ahead and codified it. The House recently just passed a bill to make the red tape hotline permanent. And we've had kind of some fun success stories. Just last month in December, we had a woman who owned a business, I believe it was Washington State. But at any rate, she ended up calling the red tape hotline and it had this nice story that said that the red tape hotline quite literally saved Christmas. And her business was waiting on some importation, couldn't get it through customs, called the red tape hotline. We worked with CBP to go ahead and get that through. And so that was kind of a nice little review. Maybe here's a little more local flavor. I think some of you know Hayden Ballard. Awesome guy. He attended a roundtable of ours back in August in St. George, it was September. And he's 6th-generation rancher, southern Utah, northern Arizona, also an attorney, so pretty adept at federal lands policy, and just other issues with respect to the ranching profession and industry. And so in speaking with him, I got schooled on animal unit months. I had no idea what that was before. I learned a lot in this job. I feel like I got to be the master of all, or the jack of all trades and master of none. But the AUMs he was describing had declined from 18 million in the 1950s down to 8 million, so a drop in 10 million units. And not because the percentage of federal lands had gone down proportionately, not at all. It's because there have been a lot of lawsuits lodged against BLM and against U.S. Forest Service and others that had them suspending AUMs pretty regularly. This has a big impact on local economies and on the price of beef. In fact, we had a study from Utah State University and also from BLM that showed for every AUM, there's about $150 in economic impact to that local community. And so you can do the math. This is a multi-billion-dollar problem, having suspended that many AUMs, not to mention the fact impacting the livelihood of ranchers that need to graze that need to graze on federal lands, especially in a state like ours. So he was able to actually meet with the president. This picture, I think, is just from 2 months ago. Met with Secretary Rollins, also with Secretary Burgum of the Interior, with Kelly Loeffler as well from SBA. And this was just put together the other month. We're going to have a press conference in the next few weeks with all those secretaries. I've been invited to go out as well, and Hayden and that other rancher you saw in there with the really cool hat is from a rancher from Nevada. So the USDA put out this white paper, about 13 pages, and it detailed all kinds of regulation they're going to change. Not just grazing on federal lands, but we're talking country of origin labeling laws, we're talking lending, we're talking Endangered Species Act, that all had implications on the ability to ranch on federal lands. So I like sharing that example because it gives you, these are some of the successes. The $100 billion that I'm talking about, that's part of it. Again, we have hundreds of billions more that we want to be able to work on. I'm hopeful that you all will feel comfortable speaking to me and sharing any pain points or time waste that you have with respect to your businesses that might be related to federal regulation. This is my contact information. I've got some cards here, but if you please want to jot that down, trent.staggs@sba.gov. We've got offices. My duty station is Salt Lake on First South and State Street, but then also I'm out in DC quite regularly. So let me know how I can be your advocate. That is the role, the Office of Advocacy, how I can be your advocate in small business, to try to fight back on any regulation that's negatively impacting you. And last thing I'll say is, even if it isn't federal, if it's not federal regulation, if it has to do with state, we want to know that too. The Department of Justice put out an RFI just the other month that wanted to know what state regulations are disproportionately impacting interstate commerce. And California gets beat up on a lot. Utah, we're doing awesome. Those people from the governor's office, we're doing really well. In fact, Utah even has an Office of Regulatory Relief under the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, which is awesome. So that gives businesses an opportunity to go into a sandbox for 18, 24 months and even be exempt from state regulations. So if you don't know about that, ask one of the people from the state, from GOEO, or I'm happy to direct you as well. Colorado, in my region, gets beat up on a lot. They're the 5th most regulated state in the country. California, as I said, Prop 65, labeling laws, their Proposition 12, California Assembly Bill 5, all of these things that add up are really onerous on businesses. So let me know too if there's something with respect to another state that you're trying to do business in or that you do business in. I'd like to know that too. Again, appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak about the exciting topic of deregulation. So reach out to me, please. Again, if you guys have anything at all, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trent. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here. And if anybody wants to talk to Trent, he'll be here. And if you have any pressing issues, especially with regulation, this is an opportune time. So thank you once again. Now I'd like to introduce Pat Guerrero to the stage. Pat, of course, is our Chamber of Commerce president, and as the former chamber president, I appreciate all the good work that she's been doing. We have a really amazing chamber right now. Pat didn't know that she accepted a lifetime position with the Chamber of Commerce, so thank you for that. But yeah. But thanks for all the thank you for all the good work you do at the chamber and for keeping us organized. Thank you, Pat.
Okay. Okay, so good morning. So glad to see everybody here today. I'm happy to be here, and we're all here today to learn and hear what's new and make connections. The last couple of years, I've done a chamber presentation. In my 10 minutes, I've kind of done a laundry list of all the things that we did in the year. I want to take a little bit different approach this year. Instead of talking about everything that we did, I want to talk about why it's important. So instead of counting events, I want to talk about connections and how connections become community. There's that word community again, that's kind of a theme running through everything today. So for me, my connections start with the immediate chamber team. This is our board of directors. A lot of you know some or all of these people, and they're all here today. This is our leadership team, and I'm happy to say that Ron is back from Brazil, and Lacey is back from Mexico, and Nicholas is back from the North Pole. So we're getting the year off to a good start. And like all the other, so many boards and committees in this community, we're a group of volunteers, and we are involved because we believe in what we're doing, and we enjoy the chamber work. I heard a joke one time. Somebody said, well, what is a chamber? And someone else said, oh, it's that place where you go and have lunch. And I guess that's not entirely wrong, but it's so much more. It's not so much an event organization, but we really want to be a connector organization. We're all involved in business in some way. We're business owners, we're employees, we work with facts and figures and spreadsheets, and there are so many things that we can add up on spreadsheets, but the impact of connections is not something that you can quantify on a spreadsheet. Connections are all about relationships, and here in rural Utah and rural Arizona, relationships matter. And they matter more when everybody knows everybody. And if you think about it, not everybody knows each other's businesses. We tend to know a lot about each other's business, but not so much about the businesses. Connections matter because relationships are economic infrastructure. In other words, it's our social connections and trust and the collaboration among people and organizations. Those are the fundamental, foundational assets that enable and drive economic activity and prosperity. So in rural areas, referrals can replace large marketing budgets, trust travels faster than advertising, and collaboration keeps businesses local and resilient. The chamber is a neutral table where competitors become collaborators, where new businesses are welcomed quickly, and where longtime businesses stay relevant. Our chamber is a connection ecosystem. We offer places to meet, so we have monthly networking breakfasts and lunches, and those create repeated, low-pressure interactions. We help with moments of celebration. We do our ribbon cuttings, and those spark introductions and visibility. And just mark your calendars, we have a ribbon cutting in 2 weeks. Rachel Payton's here. We're doing a ribbon cutting at Kanab Yoga Collective. That'll be Thursday, January 22nd, 5 p.m. So we want to see everybody there. The chamber also offers opportunities to serve. And it's led me personally to make new connections and deeper relationships with many people in the community. Every event we host is a doorway to a relationship. So the chamber opens doors, but the members must walk through those doors. Relationship building is a two-way investment. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. And I've heard a lot of stories about the investment paying off for people. They meet new clients through the chamber, they get referrals through their connections to the chamber, and they take advantage of the resource partners that they meet through the chamber, such as all these great resource partners that are here today. I hope you've all had a chance to go around and talk to everybody at these tables. All these connections started at a chamber gathering. What chamber membership really buys you is visibility. People know your name. Access to be in the room where it happens. The coolest thing that I like to see is every month we have our lunches, and they end at 1. And at 1 o'clock, yeah, some of the people have to get back to work, but so many people stay, and they connect. They're talking in groups, and maybe they, needed to talk to somebody, or they met somebody new, and they stick around. They stay to make those connections and have conversations with others in the room. And then, of course, there's the trust that comes from relationships that are built over time. So this year, the Kanab Area Chamber of Commerce will continue to be a connector and a convener and the champion for people within our business community. And I'd like to challenge all of you today to start making some new connections. Sit with somebody new, or make an introduction for someone else. Introduce yourself to someone else. And if you're a chamber member, show up consistently. If you're not a member, we would welcome you to become one. And remember what I said about this being a two-way investment. You'll get out of it what you put into it. 2 closing thoughts I'd like to leave with you today. The strength of our local economy isn't measured by chamber events, but it's measured by relationships. And the chamber works best when it's not about the chamber, but it's about the connections that it creates. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. And next, I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker. It's someone who wears more hats in this community than anybody else I know. He is the owner and general manager of the Southern Utah News, Don Jennings.
Thank you, Pat. Hey, everybody, how we doing out there? All right, let's see. Who is awake? Show of hands. All right, who's asleep? Show of hands. All right, awake people, you want to smack the sleeping people. Lacey, I think you're the only person who's asleep. All right. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to point out that the managing editor is Brooke Knighton. She's right there. And I know Ty was here somewhere, our lone reporter. But really, let's just sort of get onto this because I've got 10 minutes. All right. My choice was to talk about journalism as infrastructure. So a couple of years ago, I stood up here and I talked about all of us working together to save a local paper, right? We had a little paper, needed to transition into modern times. Last year, I talked about hyper-local advertising. I really liked that presentation only because it had the word hyper in it. This year, I want to talk about something that's a little bit different. Because right now, especially with some of the challenges you've heard about today from various people, businesses aren't only thinking about how to grow, they're thinking about how to stay steady, right? These have been some challenging times. So that brings us to infrastructure. Communities depend on infrastructure. Roads, water, power, schools, emergency services. Most of the time, you don't think about them, but when something goes wrong, you do think about them, right? You think about them a lot when there's a fire, when supply chains are interrupted, when there's uncertainty around travel, because that's what we rely on, this infrastructure, when things get challenging. You notice infrastructure when things get shaky. When things are unstable, You don't find yourself arguing about whether or not roads are important or if they matter. You don't find yourself arguing about schools or businesses because we rely on them. Infrastructure allows everything else to keep working when the ground is shifting underneath your feet. But some infrastructure is not physical. Some of it's people. And some of it's just information. Knowing what's going on and what's happening. Knowing what's changed. Knowing who's making decisions and why they're doing that. That shared understanding as a community is also part of our infrastructure. And that is where local journalism lives. A local newspaper quietly, well, Brooke can be noisy, but that's really just in the office, quietly provides stability week after week, reliable information when it matters the most, when things are unsteady, documents decisions, explains changes, and keeps people on the same page, especially when rumors are moving quickly or stress is really high. When people are anxious or uncertain, reliable information is not a luxury, it's infrastructure. Local journalism shows up. When there's a planning meeting, someone is there. When there's a business opening, we show up and take pictures and we tell the story. When there's a zoning change, a water issue, a school decision, a community response to a crisis, it gets written down, not filtered through social media, not flattened into a rumor, but documented, explained, and archived. So what happens if we lose it? Well, when local journalism disappears, all that stuff keeps happening. Decisions are still getting made, but fewer people know about them or understand what they are. Confusion increases, misinformation spreads around, and uncertainty becomes expensive, especially for local businesses. Why does this matter? Well, businesses don't operate in a vacuum. You operate in a climate of trust, like Pat was mentioning, relationships, information that's shared. When folks trust local institutions, they trust local businesses. Journalism helps create the conditions where commerce can keep moving, even when things feel really uncertain. Advertising. Well, I'm here to tell you that the ad prices in the Sun are ridiculously cheap compared to other newspapers and other places. That's because we're small and we just have a couple of staff people. But the reason I mention that is because there's really two reasons in a small town to advertise in a paper. One is to advertise in the paper. The other one is to send the message that you are here. So in that context, when you advertise or when you contribute, where's Emily? She sends us stories. Nicholas writes stories. Celeste has written stories. Pat has written stories. Craig submits stuff from the Buckskin. We get stories from best friends every week. All of these people are contributing. And it's not just coverage. It's a contribution, it's presence, it's businesses and the community saying, we're here. And so maybe you're not going to be able to take each dollar you spend and draw a line to each widget you sell. But for the couple of thousand people every week who look at this paper, you're there. Hold on. So local journalism is infrastructure. It's there when things are fine, It's there when things are not. Keeps people connected and businesses informed. It's reliable when things are unsteady. And that's what infrastructure does. And that's why local journalism matters. I want to make sure to say thanks again to Brooke, and Ty, to Sam, to Maddie, who's joined us as an editor. It's a team. These young people are devoted to the work they do. I just show up. Additionally, I'm here all day. Brooke's around. If you want to find us, we're at a table over in the corner. Thanks very much. All right, it's my pleasure now to introduce Ashley Romero and Sam Atkinson. There you are. Here's the clicker.
Appreciate it. How do I just click it forward? Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing? How many of you are familiar with Hot Mama's Pizza up in Duck Creek? Good. Great. A lot of you know who we are then. That's great. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me first. I grew up here in Kane County. My grandparents used to own the rock shop in Orderville that looks like a rock. So I just have a lot of fond memories from growing up here. As a lot of young people in small counties, I was looking for something else. So I headed out for the big city lights of Duck Creek. When I got up there, I met Sam. And after a couple of years, an opportunity opened. So I asked him if he wanted to open a restaurant with me. And he said no. No hesitation, just no. But being the great partner he is, he supported me. And with the help of his family in 2009, we were able to open Hot Mama's Pizza. And over the years, I'm not sure how I do this. There's a couple of things I've picked up in the pizza industry that hopefully you can take with you and it'll give you some value. So the first is to know your ingredients. With pizza, that's obviously cheese, it's flour, it's toppings. But in business, it's your team. It's your resources and your market. Knowing your ingredients for success is so important. Know your ingredients and always just make sure you're offering the best. Compromise on quality because it affects everything you do. Your customers deserve the best, just always make sure you're offering the best. The next is to perfect your recipe. Making a good pizza is more than just going online and finding a recipe and following instructions, right? It's about really finding that unique flavor that sets you apart. And that's true in any business. Sorry, I hate public speaking. Our pizza recipe has never changed, but our recipe for success has many times. We update our menu almost every year because we just want to make sure we're always constantly aware that our recipes for success is dialed in. And you just want to stay ahead of the game with that. And lastly, you need to deliver a great experience. You can't just give someone a great pizza. We need to offer a warm, comfortable, welcoming atmosphere, as well as great service. I think that applies whether you're selling a product or offering a service. Always be looking at every point along the way that you can add value for your customers. And as long as you're constantly doing the best to just at every touch point add value for them, I think that will bring you success. So some of you may know that in 2015, Hot Mama's had a fire, and Sam's here to tell you guys a little bit about that.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing? So let's start with, we had a really bad fire. I need a little clicker here so we can bring this up here. So let's say 6:30 in the morning, woke up to a phone call basically telling me, I think your building's on fire, from a good friend of mine. And I'm like, nah, no way. We jump up and head over to the window well and look out there and look over the way and, well, something's on fire. Don't know if it's our place or not. We jump in the vehicle and head over that way, and sure enough, this is what we walked over to, and it was absolutely devastating, guys. I couldn't even tell you the feeling that came over us. I know it came over me, and it was insane. And I remember a stranger walking up to me and telling me, do you have insurance, right? I'm like, well, yeah. But at that time, I had no clue who my insurance company was. we didn't have a close relationship with our agent. So I went and jumped in the truck, noticed that didn't know who to call, started calling some people, finally got to where I needed to, and I'm in tears by then. So basically that's where I want to let you guys know that after that day, our family lost $160,000. We lost all of our personal belongings, and most importantly, we lost that building, the memories that went along with that building. You can only imagine just all of that. And that's what leads me up to one thing. I want to let you guys know that insurance. Know your insurance policy. You know, find a trusted agent. I don't know if there's agents out there right now. It's the one key thing you want to do is find a trusted agent you can rely on. And make sure your building's evaluated correctly. You know, for example, you know, we had new agents walk through the town just previously to our fire. I don't know, it was maybe a year before or whatever. They came walking through town to sell us some insurance, you know, and we're a small business, so we need to save money. So boom, right away, they say they can save us some money. Boom, that's what we did. We went with them, we saved our money. Well, in the long run, we found out the whole back building was never insured. So right off the bat, it was terrible. So, and that leads me to personally also evaluate all your belongings. You know, you're gonna wanna take pictures, you're gonna wanna keep receipts, and not just do that, because those receipts might be in the building that burned down. So you're gonna want to take photographs in your phone, keep everything in your phone, whatever you can do to prove to the insurance company what you have in the place and stuff like that. So, and then also understanding your policy, the inclusions, the exclusions that are actually in your policy. Some people don't know about it. They'll send you, like, in the mail, they'll send you your pamphlet. It's going to be a small one. It's not going to be your full policy. It's literally going to be maybe a few exclusions, but not all of them. So make sure, if you guys all probably have insurance here, head home, check your pamphlet. It's probably going to be a little skinny guy, and you're going to want to ask your agent for the big one. It's going to have all the wording in it. It's going to have all the exclusions in it, all the inclusions in it, so you actually know what you're insured for. So, and that leads us to the rebuild. So insurance companies only give you about a year to rebuild. So we had 1 year. We were very, very rushed. And during this meantime of this, I had all the small wares. You can almost think about everything that's in a restaurant. You got the small wares. You got your big equipment that's in there. You have your refrigerators. You have your shelving. All this needs to be fit into your new building. Well, the building's not built yet, but you got to put it all together and get it all there so you can open your place. As soon as the construction is done, you can get it in there, get it in line, and it all makes sense. So that was really hard to do. And I want to give a big shout out to Brandon Harris Construction. He's amazing, guys. He got this done in 1 year and 2 months. We only went over by 2 months, and it's a blessing. It was absolutely a blessing how he did that. We ran out of some money right there because, you know, we went 2 months over, so we didn't get no decorations out in our dining room or anything like that. So it was kind of plain. It still kind of is plain, but, you know, one step at a time. And we had a big worry during that time too that the building, you know, we might have built it too big. It was like 3 times bigger than our old building. So we started getting worries that, you know, oh God, this building's huge. How are we going to do this? How are we going to get enough employees to take care of it? How are we going to be able to afford it? And I just want to let everybody know, whoever's starting a business, if you know you have a good product, you're going to fill that place up. You're going to get more customers all the time, and that big building is going to become small. And that's what happened to us. It's small. We outgrew our building, which is a blessing. And that leads me to great customers, loyal customers we had, and literally community. You can't even tell you guys how much community is key to owning a business and knowing your community, knowing your friends, and just keeping that close. So anyway, God bless Kane County. God bless America. It's great seeing you all. You guys take care.
I'm not sure who's next. I don't think he's
Thank you. Thank you. I'm hungry for a pizza. Thank you, Sam and Ashley. So now I'd like to welcome Courtney Millard to the stage. Welcome, Courtney. Courtney's going to speak to us about starting a business in a small town, and Courtney is with the coffee shop in Orderville, which is another great community asset, and we really appreciate you being here.
All right, thank you guys. I'm excited to be here today. For those of you guys that don't know, my name is Courtney Millard. I am the manager and founder for the Shop Coffee Co. I also run the Zion Fuel Up Station that is attached next to it, and a little catering company as well. I moved to this area in 2009 after I was in college at the time, and there was a recruiting fair up at BYU. And a very interesting man there. And I had never heard of Southern Utah. I did not know what Southern Utah was. Being in college was my first experience living in Utah, so I didn't understand it was divided between North and South. So I didn't quite get that until I got down here. And I started working down here, and like I said, I got down here in about 2009. Started up at Zion Ponderosa, and I loved it so much I never left. So I love being part of this community. I'm really excited to kind of share some of my experiences here over the last 15 years. So anybody not familiar with us, we are just right on the main street in Orderville, and we are some long-time mechanic service bays turned cafe. The space became available in 2021, and it was just 2 really old service bays with lifts and all the things that come along with it, as you can see. And I knew that the space was really special. The location of it was great. It has a really great long-time history in the area, and I knew that we needed to do something amazing with it. And that kind of led to the first challenge of trying to decide what to do with it. I knew it was going to be great, just need to decide what to do. And thinking about what to do, my biggest dream for the community there in the valley was a place for people to come. I don't know how many of you guys are super familiar with the valley area, but there's not a lot there. And there's not really places for people to meet or to hang out or to come together. And so that was really my dream, was to kind of create a space where people can just come. You can call up a friend and say, meet me here and let's hang out. And so that kind of led to us thinking about, okay, how can we know that we're going to need tourism to sustain what we do, but we want to create it something for the locals, something for our people to be able to come and participate in and to be a part of, that can be a business for the community, not just in the community. And because of that, we settled on the concept of this coffee shop, this cafe. Knowing that the only way we were going to survive in Orderville, a town of 600 strong, was to have ample tourist traffic. We continually work to balance that challenge of, encouraging tourism and supporting that, but also making sure that we are supporting our local community and those that keep us in business. I feel like that's something that we're always constantly evolving with in order to determine what each sector needs. And those of you guys that have small businesses here obviously know that that can be a real challenge sometimes. Tourists, especially in the food industry, are looking for speed, they're looking for convenience, conscious food choices, they're looking for that Instagrammable, photo-worthy thing to stop and do. And the local community is looking for something very different. They're looking for consistency, familiarity, they want a good price point, and they want someone who's going to respect their community, respect their values. And being a move-in, it feels like 15 years I shouldn't still be a move-in, but I am still a move-in. And so is the shop. So being a move-in, that's something that we are super conscientious about. And some of the ways that we've tried to kind of balance that relationship is things like, we work really hard on having seasonal menus. We work really hard on having a great price point and discount for our locals so that they can come in and feel like they're getting a good value. We use a lot of local vendors and partnerships, whether that's for produce, for retail items. We hire a fully local staff. And we just try really hard to be a good community member while encouraging, the Instagrammable food item, the convenience of online ordering, the cuteness of the shop, so that when people come in, it's an automatic, oh, wow, look how cool, we love it, super vibey. So that's been definitely like both a challenge and I feel like a success of what we do. One of the biggest hardships of operating in our rural town, which I'm sure you guys all know about, is our seasonality. Seasonality in this area can be tough, but I feel like it also gives us opportunity for a big strength as well. One of my favorite things about the opportunity to run the shop is being able to employ my team year-round. It's definitely been a difficult thing. It can be really hard to operate in the winter and try to keep on a full staff, but it's also been one of the most meaningful things. Trying to create this culture. As a small business owner, having a culture around what you do and getting your team to buy into that culture has been like a phenomenal opportunity and also a great hardship. We've worked really, really hard on our culture to make sure that our staff feel empowered, to make them feel like they are valued, they're well-trained, they're well-equipped, and honestly, for somebody that's in the restaurant business, and I've been in this business for over 10 years now, it gives me a lot more peace of mind. Being able to know that I can rely on my staff to take care of little issues, to deal with the day-to-day, really opens up my longevity for this industry. For those of you in food and beverage, it's really easy to get burnt out. It can be a really really high turnover industry. And so trying to keep our team here year-round and encourage them to stay in the community and be able to have a job available to them, I feel like is a really big win for us and for our community. I think that especially where we're a really service-heavy community, we're a very service-heavy county, that trying to help our locals feel engaged in the businesses that we have is one of our greatest assets, because everybody enjoys being part of our community. If they didn't, then they wouldn't still be here, I feel like. So I love that aspect of it. Something that I get asked a lot, I don't know that switched. Oh, okay. Something I get asked a lot is actually like in regards to competition and to other businesses in the area. People ask me like, well, are you nervous or are you upset that this place opened or they're starting something just down the street or whatever? And I love the competition. I love the entrepreneurial spirit and I love encouraging other businesses to get started. I think that is such a great thing for our area because there is enough sand in the sandbox for us all. And the more opportunities we have in our county, the more likely we are to get those people to stop. Whether it's from Duck Creek all the way down through Orderville, down to Kanab, the more we can have people that are traveling down that Highway 89 be like, oh, there's so many things to do, so many places to stay. Look at all these eating options we have. The more likely we're all able to win. Somebody stays here, they eat here, they recreate here, it's a win-win for everybody. So I love it when we are able to get new businesses to open up and just the same businesses to be successful year in and year out. I think that concept pays back to us tenfold every time. In a small town and in a small county, collaboration beats competition, hands down. And it's been really fun, even just in our little tiny area where we only have a handful of food and beverage places, to call down the street and ask Stacy over at Archie's if she has straws, and she'll trade cases with me of things. We're not open on Mondays, so it's a really easy thing for us to send people to the Rock Stop on Mondays for coffee and down to the Thunderbird for dinner. And so I love being able to create that sense of community with the people that we have that operate around us, because I think that the more we work together, again, the more successful we all are. And that's just a really, really fun thing to see everybody succeed. One of the things that I feel like has been a wonderful achievement in our area, because we've been able to operate successfully, we're going on year 5 now, just of being a little super random coffee shop, is because we've been able to have great products, great ingredients, just like Ashley was saying up at Mama's too, knowing what you're doing and knowing your product and making sure that it's always a quality one. We've been able to have a really great impact on our community, like I was saying, with being able to have consistency and familiarity in your product, not changing things too much that people are unsure of what your hours are or unsure of what your menu is. And so we try to be super, super consistent, and that consistency has paid back to us. It's really fun to get out there and be like, yeah, we're going to sponsor that Little League baseball team, or we're going to give scholarships to all the little high school kids that come and work for us in the afternoons. That's been really, really neat to become more and more involved in our community that way. Even things like the Halloween Bash that we throw every year, and the new Orderville Town Park that's going up right now, being able to be involved in those projects is a really great way to exist not only in the community, but as a part of the community, which we really love, and that's kind of one of our biggest goals. They asked me to talk to you guys about running a business in a rural town, in a small place, and one of the things that they said was to talk about some learning curves, some aha lessons for people that may be starting a business or currently in the thick of running a business. And I thought about all of the last 15 years of being in the service industry in various capacities, whether that's in food and beverage, lodging, recreation. I've done all of those things over the last 15 years, and I thought about the 3 things that have been the most impactful to me. That very first thing is to just try not to sweat the small stuff. We all know that it's really easy to have a lot of turnover in the service industry. And so trying to cut down on that turnover by not getting myself all worked up about the little things that don't really matter has helped a lot. Not every bad review is worth your time. It's just not. And I see some heads nodding, and I know we've all gotten them, and we're like, what? I don't even know what that is. But it's not always worth your energy. It's not always worth your energy to deal with the staff that are fighting, the bad review, the little thing that's not working out right. Pick and choose what you devote your time and energy to, and you will be happier in your business, which is the whole reason why you started your business. You wanted to be happier. You wanted to bring joy to yourself and your community. So don't let that joy be stolen by the little things that don't matter. The second thing on there is being people smart. This one I feel like is a lifelong struggle for anybody that works with people or have kids, which I know you all do in some capacity. Being people smart is more important than being right. So knowing and understanding how to talk to people, how to work with others, how to manage other people, really that all comes down to how you communicate, and being a good communicator isn't always about making sure that everybody understands that you are right. It's about teaching them that you are right without them knowing that. So I think that you can, a lot of times people, as we are seeing these new generations come up and work for us, I am always laughing, I feel like, as I get these new kids that come up from high school, or these kids that have just graduated, or these young 20-something-year-olds. And I can't help but, like, it's so different than when I started working when I was 14 years old. And I think that nowadays something that's really important to them is that they want to feel something when they're at their job. They want to feel, they want to have this like special connection. They want to feel like they're a part of something. They want to have that vibey feel, whatever it is. They are really in tune with that. And so a lot of times this generation doesn't leave a business because of the job itself, but more because of how they felt when they were working there. So understanding how to talk to your staff and how to motivate them to do the things that you want them to do in the way that you want them to do it can help you be more successful, rather than just trying to really hone in on the fact that, they need to do it this very specific way that is your way. And then the last one rotten staff will poison the bunch. If any of you guys are familiar at all with peaches, we have a really great peach season, I feel like, down here in southern Utah. And sometimes you get that box, and there's one little peach on the end that is kind of sad and moldy and gets all yucky. And if you don't do something about it and you don't remove that peach out of the box, the rest of the box will very quickly follow. I have had several different instances in the various businesses that I've run where I have a really great high-performing person. They're on time, they do their job well, they know what they're doing, and they are usually mean. And others don't like them. But it's really hard to get rid of them because they're always there on time and they do their job fairly well. But I have learned time and time again that high performer is not worth poisoning the rest of the box. The rest of my box can be just as good when that moldy peach leaves. And so it's been really such a great lesson to learn to hire slow and fire fast. Find the right people. Surround yourself with the right people in your business, whatever that business is, whether it is service related or not. When you have the right people on your team, then everybody thrives. When everybody is working together for this common goal and generally gets along, then I feel like my business runs so much smoother. And I love that concept. So yeah, that's a little bit about us over at the Shop Coffee Co. in Orderville, Utah. And we love to see you guys in our community here. I think I tell this to people all the time. It's my most favorite thing when I see locals come in. When I see locals come in and they come and they sit down and they chat and they, want to hang out for a while. So appreciate you guys being there for us and supporting us on our journey. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Definitely going to make sure to take advantage of the locals discount. And as someone who likes to eat out a lot, we're just really lucky to have a lot of really amazing restaurants in our county, including the Thunderbird Resort. And I'm happy to have Shannon Henderson here up on stage with us. talking about selling your story. And if there's a business in Kane County that has a story to tell, it's definitely the Thunderbird. So thank you, Shannon.
Can you go back to the first slide? Keep going.
All right, there we go. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shannon Henderson, and I'm the general manager at the Thunderbird restaurant in Mount Carmel Junction, Utah. My family has owned the Thunderbird since they built it in 1931. It was started by my great-grandparents, Jack and Fern Morrison. I grew up in the business doing a little bit of everything, from baking pies, bussing tables, washing dishes. I even started out in housekeeping. The Thunderbird is located at the drop-off between Orderville and Kanab, and we serve comfort food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you've been between Bryce Canyon and Hurricane, you've no doubtedly seen our billboards. They have our cheeky homemade pies and our pinup girl on it. In another state, we might not stand out, but here in Utah, that sign gets us attention. Today, I want to show you how we built our business with purpose, and how you can build your story inside your own business as well. This is me right here, 6 years old. This was 3 months before my grandma, Fern, died. The joke is she's there telling me all the secrets. And this is me and my mother, Arlene, in the bakery at the height of 2020 COVID, when all the businesses opened back up, making our homemade pies. Mount Carmel Junction is not a town. It's a crossroads for Highway 89 and 9. On one hand, you have Zion National Park. On the other, you have Bryce Canyon. In the summer, we see a steady flow of boaters, rental cars, and ATVers. We used to be really slow. We used to put puzzles together in the middle of the dining room in the winters. But since COVID, we've seen an increase in business from our locals and our people from East Asia. Because our customers are so mixed, our story has to matter to all of them. And at the heart, the story of the Thunderbird restaurant is the American dream. And that's a story that is known internationally and sells internationally. Jack and Fern started with a gas station Jack built in 1931, and Fern would make her homemade pies for locals and truckers. It was a practical work in a practical place. People needed a place to stop, rest, relax, and refuel, and the Thunderbird filled those needs. Right here, we have the second gas station Jack built. First one didn't pan out. Right here, we have a photo of Jack in front of his gas station in 1941, and a photo of Fern with all of her children, Jackie, Joyce, Marie, and Betty. Let's see if I get the clicker right this time, guys. Nope. Four times a charm. And then there's the sign. Jack hand built the sign in 1931. He realized he couldn't fit the word home on there, and the sign took on a story of its own. We didn't hire a branding agency, and a lot of professionals came through and told us it was really bad advertising. If you know my dad, Ed, you know that he is the rebel. So he took the bull by the horns and decided to create the Pie Girl. Arlene, my mother, she's right over there, she redesigned the dining room to have a throwback feel. That, paired with the Pie Girl and our family history, made it feel honest. And that honesty is what people responded to. Yeah, I did it right this time, guys. Once the sign of the Pie Girl became part of our identity, people connected to it. It felt different, it felt bold, and it felt true to who we are. That change is what pushed us to become not just a roadside diner that people passed by, but a must-stop on people's travels. We even got added into the Utah Pie Trail. And as one of the pie makers, we have the best crust out there. I'm sorry for everybody else, but we're winning. Today, we have a small oasis with friendly staff and cars wrapped around our buildings. We shaped our business with local discounts, tour buses, and ATV trails that my father Ed rebuilt that come straight to the front of our business. When you walk into our lobby, you see the story of Jack and Fern on our walls. You see our family photos. When you walk up to our hostess stand, you see our music video playing on repeat, and a pie case full of fresh pies. Our hostess takes you to their table. There you have our family history, which we have on every single table. You look around, you see the antiques, you hear the music from the 1950s and the 1960s. All this is done on purpose as a throwback, and it makes you feel like you belong there. Our staff, they're part of it too. We have a wonderful staff. They are second and third generation employees, and we tell them information about our sign, about our pies, and about our family history. And we also work with them every single day in the business. So when customers talk to them, they can respond naturally. We also stay focused on our community. This is a tourism-based area, but our locals are who built us. That's who made us what we are. Our staff love seeing them come in, so we do special discounts for them and incentives. We've dedicated booths to locals who passed away, and license plates are all over our walls. If you take the time to sit down in the Thunderbird and look at our walls, every single license plate has been sent in from a customer. Every single one of them. We didn't go out and buy these license plates. A lot of them are for husbands and wives who one has passed away and they want a memorabilia on the walls. It's just wonderful, and it shows the community they're central to who we are. All right, some people think we have it easy because we have a famous sign, and that's a little true, but it's not entirely true. Here are 5 things you can do inside your own business to make your story count. 1, name your story in one sentence. For us, it might be a family roadside diner where the pies and the hospitality are the stars. For you, it could be a hardware store where you help people fix up their old homes, or a motel that keeps its lights on for its roadside workers. 2, you need to pick a symbol, an object, part of your story, a color, anything that relates to your business. Make sure it's personal. 3, make sure it is visible. You need to put it on your walls, on your menu, on your website, on your social media, and every single thing needs to be consistent. Any inconsistencies, people pick out and it doesn't feel genuine. 4, teach your staff. Give them a few things about you and your family, because at the end of the day, when your customers come in, they're not meeting you, the business owner. They're meeting your staff members. And 5, make sure your place is photo ready. It's easy for us to say because we have murals all over our walls that my Aunt Jackie hand painted. But you just need a clean store with well-organized merchandise. Why do we put in this effort? Because our story shows up in our numbers. We have 3 ways to earn when people walk into our doors: meals, merchandise, and gas. Our story lets us sell ourselves long before people walk in the door. People wear our advertising, so we don't have to spend money on traditional advertising. And we even have a customer, they got the neon Thunderbird logo tattooed on his arm all the way in Germany. And as you can tell, I am a tattoo girl. And I was so jealous because I have the pie girl and I wanted that Thunderbird so bad. When you're clear on what you're advertising, you're clear on your business, you know it feels right in the moment and you know it doesn't. And you don't do things just because they feel tempting. Your story is already there. It comes from where you started, who you serve, and what you care about. Your job is to name it and share it. If you can do one thing today, write your story down in one sentence. Go to your staff members. Ask them, does this feel real? If it does, that's awesome. But a lot of us don't get it on the first try, so make sure you workshop it a little bit. My name's Shannon Henderson. I'm going to be here all day today. And I would love to talk to you about how we've done this in the Thunderbird, because we have such a unique history, and how you can implement it inside your own businesses. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for keeping your stories in Kane County. Your next, thank you. Thank you. All right, your next person is going to be Craig Embley. Working Together Works, and I also want to say thank you, Craig, because I'm a Fredonia resident, and I found out you paid for all the kids' lunches. And I just think that's terrific and amazing of you. Have a good time.
The Buckskin Tavern is an old-style Western saloon that has been serving travelers and locals since 1934. This picture is the inside of the tavern, brought to us, care of Buck Montgomery. He went into the Kanab Museum, and they helped identify this. This is actually Milt Cram on the end there, the founder of the Buckskin. So the Buckskin's been here for a while, and they have a history. In the early days of the Buckskin, a cowboy rode up and parked his horse out front, tied it up to the hitching post. That tells you how long ago this story's from. Unfortunately, he was a stranger, and some of our locals don't always take kindly to newcomers. So this young man came in and had a beer and looked out to see what was happening with his horse, and it was gone. Someone had stolen his horse. Well, he came back into the Buckskin, took out his 6-shooter, whistled around a few times, shot a hole in the air, and said, "One of you sidewinders took my horse, and I want it back." Well, the locals, looking a little chagrined, were a little nervous about that 6-gun. So he went back into the bar, and he said, "You know what? If I have my horse back by the time I'm done with this beer, I'll just let it go." So he came back in, had a beer, went back out. Sure enough, there was the horse. So during the time he had said, "Boys, I'm really upset about this horse being gone. And if it's not back before I'd finished that beer, I'm gonna have to do what I did down in Texas. And I don't wanna do what I did down in Texas." I think that's what got the horse back. So he went back out, got on his horse, and got ready to ride away. And the bartender came out and said, "Hey, look, I just have to ask, what happened down in Texas?" He said, "Well, I had to walk home." So unlike the story, my locals, all of you, would never go steal someone's horse. In fact, we are totally reliant on our locals in our community. And so we try to give back everywhere we can to the community, because working together works. If you guys didn't come out to the Buckskin, we would be in trouble. We like to serve travelers, but the locals are the key. And so I want to talk today a little bit about some of the things that we can do, all of us, to tie in and make working together work. And I have 5 specific things that I think we can talk about. And I think all of you, even this is even something the Buckskin does, but all of you think for a moment as we talk about these 5 things, if there are things that you could also be doing. Because I think they're applicable to all of us, whether we're service providers in government, or whether we have a service business or a manufacturing business. The first thing that I want to talk about the Buckskin does is we are members of the Chamber of Commerce. Pat gave a wonderful speech, and I would recommend to all of you, think about, if you're not already, being members of the Chamber of Commerce, but also, though, participating in the Chamber of Commerce. So the Chamber of Commerce not only provides us with local connections, but it provides us information, training, and absolutely wonderful programs. This is a picture of our grand opening. The Chamber does a great job with the grand opening. We had about 120 people there, and it really got nice buzz started. It also has this added advantage of you'll probably get a little blurb, story, and picture in the local paper if you come on out. And that's a great way to get a small business started. That leads me to the second thing you might want to do. Work with the local papers. We have 2 local papers, absolutely phenomenal papers. And I like Don Jennings' word hyper-local, because our paper, which we advertise in every week, the first one, Southern Utah News, gets out to all of the people here, the people that matter. Every week we have an ad in the paper saying what our local events are. And we try to have the kind of events that will get all of you wanting to come out. So that can be like a line dancing class, that can be live music, that can be trivia. I think Angie and John are here, our local trivia callers. So we try to do things that will get you out, but you have to know about them. We also have another paper, the Zion Independent. I don't know if Josh is here today or not. Zion Independent also does a really good job advertising for our area. Third area that you might want to look at that I would recommend highly. This is not necessarily as expensive as you might think it is, but it's participating in fundraising. Now, you can participate in fundraising by actually giving money, and I recommend that. We have some really, really big givers in this community. We have some giants, Glaziers, Honeys, and Best Friends. I see them on all of the sponsorships, and I really applaud that. But there are other things that can be done. The Kanab Animal Assistance Protection Program came out. They co-sponsored, and we let them use our facility to have a trivia night. They raised thousands of dollars. It's something worth thinking about, co-sponsoring with people. It gets good press, it gets good publicity, and it does good things for the community. Fourth thing I want to talk about is listening to your customers. You might not think about that way, a way to work together, but listening to your customers really is a way of working with them. When we started the Buckskin, in our version, I actually think of myself as a caretaker for the Buckskin. It's been here for almost 100 years. I haven't been there that long. But we've listened to our customers and tried to do some things to improve our service. One of them is food. The Buckskin's always been a tavern, but they haven't had food. So we've added food. For every hour the Buckskin is open, we have food available. Another customer asked us if we could add vegan and vegetarian food. We've now done that too. In fact, we just got listed on Happy Cow as a vegan restaurant, and Taylor has done a great job out there of making really, really good food. Another thing that we've listened to our customers, and you'll be seeing around town fairly quickly, is a shuttle. Okay, as you know, we serve alcohol. We also serve non-alcoholic beverages, by the way, another thing customers have asked for. But you'll start starting to see this Buckskin shuttle come around town as the spring starts. So you'll be able to get in and out without having to violate any of our laws. Final thing I want to talk about, and this one is a little bit more nebulous. And that, man, is my secret weapon for this one. And that's just sometimes doing the right thing. Taylor came to me, he's actually the operator of the Buckskin, and he had told me back in November that we had some problems with some of our customers. They hadn't gotten their assistance. The government was shut down. And so he wanted to do a free Thanksgiving dinner for the community. Now, that actually makes no financial sense whatsoever, but Taylor doesn't care. And so we had a really, really wonderful meal, about 150 people, about 36 shut-ins that we sent meals out for, that we were able to provide meals for the customers, or for our community. I will tell you, such outpouring of community spirit that I have never seen, because while we didn't plan on having any money come in to help us, everybody came in and wanted to buy meals for others. And it ended up actually covering all the costs of the meals that we provided. We provided volunteer labor. We didn't charge anything ourselves, but all the food got paid for. In fact, it turned out that there was an excess of funds. And so those are the funds, along with some of ours, that we gave for donating to schools that you had heard about, where we're trying to pay for some school lunches. Anyway, in the end, we really, all of us need allies. And during the up times, that's when we need to go build our allies. And if you do that building of allies when the times are good, when metaphorically your horse gets stolen and you call somebody for that ride, you'll always know that somebody will be able to come and get you.
Thank you, Craig. And the food is really good. I really enjoyed my sandwich at the chamber meeting a couple weeks ago. So thank you, Craig. And really thanks to all the speakers today. You've done an amazing job. Let's give everyone a round of applause. Because that concludes our program for the day. And there's a lot happening, obviously. I hope that everyone has received some kind of value or learned something new or met someone new today. And we're really happy to have Party in a Box as our caterer. They're based out of Big Water and fairly new to the community. So please meet them and get to know them with Dawn and her team, and we appreciate them doing lunch for us. So I just want to quickly thank our sponsors once again with the Southern Utah News, the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, the Utah Division of Arts and Museums, State Bank of Southern Utah, Kane County, the Kane County Office of Tourism, Kane County Water Conservancy District. While you're in town, Best Friends, Garcane, Hughes, Utah Zone, the Kanab Area Chamber of Commerce, the Mormon Pioneer Heritage Area, and the Utah Microloan Fund. So let's give our sponsors a round of applause. Thank you. And we really appreciate all of our volunteers and everyone that made this event possible today. Commissioner Myers, Dawn, Pat, Julie, thanks for the planning team. Jeanette, thank you. Jeanette and the Office of Tourism and Camberly and your whole team, really appreciate it. I know I have a few notes that I will pass along about having a meeting in here, but I think it's worked out really well overall. So, and we can have a game of 5-on-5 after we're done. So, and we're going to have Eric come and play a few more tunes, I believe. And he wanted me to let everybody know that there is a star party tonight at 7 p.m. out at the reservoir. So if you want to go and look at Jupiter, it's free, I believe, and come on out. So with that, we will look forward to Raising Kane 2027. It'll be right at the same time here at the Kanab Center, and we hope everyone will join us. And all the vendors and the exhibitors are here. I hope everyone gets a chance to go and talk to them. We're going to be here until at least 2 o'clock, so please hang out and network, and don't go away hungry. If you want to invite anyone over to come and eat, please do so. Okay, we're about 8 minutes out from lunch, so please talk amongst yourselves, and thank you, Eric, for providing music for us. Appreciate it.